This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, everyone? It is game day in the Peg. Round 2, game 1 tonight. The Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars both survived near-death experiences on the weekend and lived to tell about it and lived to play tonight. An 8:52 puck drop at Canada Life Center to get this one rolling for Central Division supremacy and a trip to the Western Conference Finals. We're going to be all over this one today. Our own Connor Hrabchak was down at the morning skate today. Connor's going to join us in a little bit to fill us in on everything that took place down at the rink this morning. And I got some good news for you, folks. Again, we're not getting any confirmations from the coach, but what you need to know is that Mark Scheifele was in a full contact jersey. Mark Scheifele was centering the top line, and Mark Scheifele was involved in the Jets' #1 power play. So I think it's a pretty good indication that 55 is going to be back in the lineup tonight. Unfortunately, it does not look like Josh Morrissey will be able to go. Logan Stanley also out right now, which means, and I'm here for this, Colin Miller getting back into the lineup. Miller, when he has been in so far in this series, has looked really, really good. And it looks like he's going to move over to the left side to be playing with Luke Shen. Hayden Fleury will take Josh Morrissey's spot with Dylan DeMello and get ready for a lot of Neal Pionk and a lot of Dylan Samberg again. I imagine that they will be that #1 pairing. And as they did in Game 7, play extensive minutes on that Jet blue line. Now, listen, we're going to be all over it. We'll get the latest on the Dallas Stars going into tonight's game as well. Brandon Rewucki's going to come by. We're also going to have a visit from the mayor, Scott Gillingham. Just to, as we get ready for round 1, talk about what these last couple days have been like for the leader of the city, and just how big this is for Winnipeg to have the Jets do what they've done and what might be coming forward. It's going to be a great show today. Pat Gregoire from Coolbet's going to jump on with us a little bit later on. And, in just a minute, I'll let you know about that contest we have for playoff tickets in the playoffs in the Peg contest for those of you that join me over with all the fun we're having at Coolbet. Just before we do that and bring in Michael Remis, shout out to all of our partners that make the show happen each and every day. Of course, Coolbet, Princess Auto, Prairie Toyota Dealers, Ben Moss, Manitoba Battery, St. Patel Dental Center, Canadian Club, and Rowley's Transfer. Let's Do It Travel, Aikens Lake, F Apparel, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug, Breezy Bend, Assiniboia Downs, the Gold Eyes, who are getting ready to start their season this week. And, of course, we will get to a Why Not question of the day for Not AutoCorp at Waverly and McGillivray. And get some feedback from fansfirst.ca. And, of course, Fans First, a very busy place right now, is everyone trying to get in and be a part of the whiteout at Canada Life Center. Let's welcome in Michael Remis as we begin the festivities on a game day edition of WST. What's going on, my friend?
Feeling good. I'm, finally over the Game 7 madness. I think at this point I've watched it enough times that I've come to realize, yes, this is real. This happened. Moving on to round 2. However, I mean, if you put it in front of me, don't get me wrong, I'll watch it again and again. So we are here in round 2, exciting. And I did post very late on our YouTube last night a compilation of every broadcast call of the tying goal and the winning goal. So
this is your masterpiece, Michael. This is your masterpiece.
I've been dying for an opportunity to do something like this, and it has the Sportsnet call, TNT call, Edmonds, Jets radio call, Blues TV call, Blues radio call. And on the Blues TV, there's some camera shots that we haven't really seen from the national broadcast of Blues players on the bench, like looking very upset. And there was one, I posted a GIF on our X of the Jets coaching staff and Scott O'Neill just jumping up and down, so excited.
Pull it up. Show the people that haven't seen it. It's
here. You had didn't
until
see
the puck
this.
drops tonight. We can be on the euphoria and the high of Game 7. It's totally greenlit right now. I don't feel a lot different today than I did on Monday, other than I know that there's actually a game tonight. We're going to be getting the whites on and firing it up again. But yeah, this scene, look at Arnie just jumping up and down with the coaching staff. That is true elation. And I mean, my God, this goal, Remis, I was going to ask you, and maybe I'll put this out to folks right now. Why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray? Has the last, what are we going to call it? 48 hours, 72 hours, the last 3 days been the best 3 days to be a Jet fan ever? Like, obviously, I'll remove the team coming back because that's on a scale that, literally changed many people's lives. But outside of the team coming back, everyone was really fired up after winning Game 1 of the Western Conference Final and think, oh my God, this team might go to the Stanley Cup. Winning the draft lottery or getting second and getting Patrick Laine was pretty great. But, for a Game 7 double overtime winner combined with the greatest, latest comeback in Stanley Cup playoff history and the euphoria that that's brought to everybody, I really do think that just for pure joy, enjoyment, and hysteria around the city, I don't think that anything has ever matched what Jet fans have been enjoying for the last 3 days since the Game 7.
Yeah, and I think it also contrasts. You're pretty much come to terms with, hey, a third straight year of a first-round exit, disappointing performances on the road in St. Louis, and, you follow up a Game 7, up until Nemestikov scored, they're really out of it and, didn't have their best game. And to do that with the goalie, just when you say it, like 2 goals with the goalie pulled in a Game 7 and then scoring the winner in double overtime, incredible. And I think we can not erase, but you can put behind a lot of the, pressure faced around one. I think they can play more free. And we have heard from players and coaches saying about Connor Hellebuck, how he changed and he shut the door in overtime and in the third period, and how he's told the team that's what he was going to do. I think of the best moments. Like, I remember walking out of Game 1 against Vegas Jets in the conference final 2010, convinced that the Jets were going to a cup final and that I would get to see a cup final game in Winnipeg. Obviously, that didn't happen, but that was up there. I think the Game 7 win against Nashville, advancing. But I think just the immediate flip-flop of thinking they're not going to win to tying the game and then winning. I mean, it was insane. And, this runway video that they posted, we see everyone's reaction. Like, there's one guy who's in the crowd, like, complete disbelief, like, can't even move. Like, the range of reactions that you see from people is incredible.
It's funny you say that because there is one of the many shots. And first of all, credit to the Jet. The Jets' social media has what they have done and put out over the course of the last few days. It is, I think I can say unequivocally, the best content that we have ever seen. Like, the Jets have done a great job in the past. The Bombers do an amazing job, but just the way that they captured the moment and have been cranking out every single angle, reaction in the building, in the city, in the street party. People can't get enough of it. And it is just great job to everybody involved there. But Remis, one of those shots was, I believe, sort of from the press box, maybe the admin view, facing the net that Perfetti scored the goal in, and I can see myself in the first row of the upper bowl.
Oh, really?
And watching my reaction, it reminded me of what happened. Like, everyone jumps up. I take a second, like 1 or 2, because I legitimately did not believe what I just saw. And then up, and I'm hugging my buddy, and everyone's going crazy. And that was the tying goal. And then, as I mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm sure people have seen it on our socials already. I was going through my phone last night, and just in the craziness, I have forgot that I pulled my phone out after the OT winner. And if you want to see someone experiencing one of the greatest moments of their lives, legit, check that out. This is, yeah, I mean, just watching this, I have to laugh because I can't believe it. So it was, anyways, appreciate all the comments and the feedback on all of that. So the social media keeps running, and here's to another series, another game, and hey, hopefully get off to a great start and go 5-0 at home and get one up on the Dallas Stars tonight. I just got a text from one of my pals over at the Jets, and this is a key thing to note, folks, because the National Hockey League and the visiting teams all have a set number of holds for playoff games. Often there are seats released on the day of the game. And I just got a text that the Jets just released some seat holds for tonight. So if you've been looking and you've been, finding the tickets were too expensive or whatever, I'm not sure where the seats are or where they are, but if you jump over to Ticketmaster right now, they have just released some seat holds for tonight. And that's a good tip to know. If you don't have seats and you want to go game day kind of after the morning skates, early afternoon, lunchtime, keep trying and keep looking, because there will be some seats available. So check that out if you want to get into the building for tonight. One other thing that we should mention right off the bat, Reem, and again, we sent a bunch of WSTers and Coolbetters to games in round number 1. And we've teamed up with Patty and Jake. Pat's actually going to join us a little later on, talk a little hockey, and get some picks for the golf tournament on the weekend. But what we have done is secured some more seats for our playoffs in the PEG contest. And listen, with the great support that Coolbet's had, and so many of you that are playing with me and riding with our WST parlays, anybody that has a Coolbet account can be eligible to get a marble and go in for our next race. And that is going to be, I guess, tomorrow for the Friday game. So what you're going to want to do is go over to winnipegsportstalk.com. You will see at the top the playoffs in the PEG contest. And just simply click on that. And you put in your name, your email. I would suggest putting your phone number in too, because it is sometimes tough to track people down if they're not checking their emails, and your Coolbet username. Now, for me, it's Hustlerama. Obviously, people that are playing there, you'll know what it is. Just throw that in, and you'll be eligible. And if you don't have one, you can simply click that link, sign up, get an account, and then throw in your Coolbet username. And tomorrow, everyone that's entered that has a valid Coolbet username, we are going to be throwing you in for a marble race. And one of you lucky Coolbetters is going to be going to game 2 on Friday night. Congratulations to Underdog, who won the race yesterday and is all fired up to be in the seats tonight for game 1. So yeah, we'll mention that later on. But again, just go to the website, winnipegsportstalk.com, click on playoffs in the PEG. Very simple. Name, email. I'd suggest you put in your phone and your Coolbet username. And tomorrow we will do a special marble race in the what's the track called? Champions Fire
Project.
The Champions Fire Project of the mastermind Dylan 70 tomorrow for that Friday night game, which is going to be absolutely bananas. Remo, before we get to today's practice and the morning skate and all the details, one other thing I wanted to bring up and maybe show to the people. And again, we've all been living on social media, just looking at reactions and everything about this goal and the comeback in Game 7 and now moving on to round 2. I have not popped, to use a wrestling term, I have not popped looking at having a social media thing come across my feed more than I did last night, where I caught this post 9 minutes after it was dropped, and it is getting a ton of run right now. One of the most familiar and legendary Jet fans is back with another motivational message. Do you have this? Can we play this?
It's ready to go, yeah.
Okay, folks, let's W's are in our name. Check this out.
See, listen, we win games around here, you know what I'm saying? Hey, and St. Louis threw everything they had at us, but it wasn't enough. Not against this team, not against this whiteout. You were loud, you were intimidating, and it drove the boys to 4 dubs in our barn. Because in Peg City, all we do is win. You know what I'm saying? Our W's are in our name. You know what I'm saying? And that last one, that's how we do.
Jets win! Jets win! Jets win! In double overtime tonight! Holy smokes!
And now we move on. Round 2. Dallas Stars, Wednesday night, in our barn. We got it.
Now, I apologize. I cannot remember that gentleman's name. But his interview on the CBC after the Jets lost Game 6 against Nashville and then went on to win it, honest to God, might be the greatest, certainly from a Winnipeg perspective, the greatest fan moment, fan interaction with the media I've ever seen. The oration of the passion of what he had to say was just so amazing. And then for them to do it. And dude, I don't know about you. I saw that last night. You know, the old saying, ready to run through a brick wall. I was right there. That another A+ for Jets social media to have him back getting everybody ready to go for round 2 tonight.
Yeah, someone wrote in chat, his name's David Steves, and yeah, he was in a post-game interview on CBC in 2018 and delivered the W is in our name line, and it was incredible. And they found him and brought him back. Well done, Jets social media team.
David Steves, absolute legend. Everyone's losing it in the chat right now. I see it's your boy Bruce. Absolutely elite content. And I love it. I've got chills from Phyllis. Love it. Hey, the city is ready to go. We'll actually have the mayor pop on a little later on, letting us know what just how big this is for the city and what this means, and talk a little just Jets with a guy that's a big fan too. It was funny seeing him and Wobber running around after the game last night on Sunday with all of their with all the fans that were around. But we will get to a little bit of some audio from we're waiting on Scott Arniel. We should have that a little bit later on, but one of the clips that we didn't get to yesterday from Connor Hellebuck was just, I mean, you as a fan, you dream of listening to comments like this of guys that are committed to the city and the team like he is, and the appreciation he has for the fan support. And then, of course, one of the Game 7 heroes, Neal Pionk, as well, coming up. And then hopefully we'll have Coach Arniel a little later on. But we will have Connor jumping on in a few minutes to fill us in on everything that went down this morning at the morning skate. Let me thank our friends at Rolly's Transfer. Folks, if you got a move coming up in the spring or summer, holler at our friends at Rolly's, family owned and operated for over 60 years, the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. Rollies.com is where you'll find everything you'll need to know, and you can click on request an estimate, drop in the promo code WST, and let them know when and where you're moving and what needs to go, and they'll turn it around with a great quote to get you the white glove treatment and service that Rollies is famous for. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies, a great supporter of WST. Find out more online at Rollies.com. Listen, I mentioned yesterday, everyone in the city's been smiling for 3 days after what happened on Sunday night. And if you want that smile to look as good as possible, pop by and see our pal Dr. Terry and his great staff at St. Vital Dental Center at 167 St. Anne, serving generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans for decades in the St. Vital area. They've now got a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's with free parking right behind, the state-of-the-art equipment, and just an absolutely incredible team of people led by our pal Dr. Terry. You can find out all the information on the wide range of dental services they have. Make an appointment at stvitaldental.ca. I got a text from my brother who was all fired up for the game, and he said, I'm ready for the game tonight. And I was listening to you talk about those new Canadian Club ready-to-drink coolers, and I went by and picked up the variety pack, which is on sale right now at your local Manitoba liquor marts. Of course, the Canadian Club and ginger was what started it all, but we also have the Citrus Smash, which is Canadian whiskey and lemon flavors, and the Half and Half, which was how I toasted that win the other day. It's kind of like the Arnold Palmer, lemonade and tea flavored, not carbonated. All there, great deal this month. Manitoba Liquor Marts, $27.99, which is a saving of about $8 or $9, I believe, that what it normally will be. So pop by it, try it out. You will love it. And of course, check out Canada's iconic Canadian Club, Canadian whiskey, wherever you pop into your local Manitoba Liquor Marts, and of course, Princess Auto Stadium as well. And hey, shout out to Donnie and the gang at Manitoba Battery. We were telling everyone, you got to wake up, and it's time to stop overpaying for batteries and go to Manitoba Battery for all your battery needs. There's only one place to get the best price in town and great quality for the batteries you need. And you can save about $50 a battery this spring by driving by the big box store on batteries you need for your campers and boats. It is that simple. Better service, great quality, save a ton of money shopping at Manitoba Battery with 2 locations in the city. The original on Logan Avenue, and don't forget, for those of you in the south end of the city, Dovercourt Drive with full service. And of course, they'll also deliver to you for free anywhere in the city with any purchase over $60. $60 inside the perimeter. Give them a call, 783-8787. Find out more, order online at manitobabattery.com. All right, so Connor's going to join us in a few minutes. Reem, I did want to get to, we listened to Connor Hellebuyck yesterday, and, obviously Pionk talking about him saying no more are going in. But we had Murat on yesterday, and Murat mentioned this, but, it was right at the end of the presser. We didn't get to it. I wanted to play it tonight because this was, talking about that connection, and I've been speaking all week about the fans pulling Hellebuyck up, a guy that had been pulling the team up and the city up for so long when he really needed it. And Murat asked Hellebuyck about the fan support, about those MVP chants before Game 7, considering everything that happened. And it was a very memorable answer from the MVP when he was asked this by Murat Atesh.
It's hard to describe that. It's just so awesome to be part of that. Something I cherish so deeply. And, the big reason why I'm going to be a Jet for life is this crowd believes in me, this team believes in me, and as much as I believe in myself, and that's dangerous. That's when things get going and things get rolling, and having them behind me is, I don't want to say a sigh of relief, but just a proud moment in my world.
In a lot of ways, there's so much we can take from that, Remo. Just hearing him say, that's why I'm going to be a Jet for life, I think is one of those things that, gets people fired up. But, having that belief in him, with the belief that he has himself, and then referring to it, that's dangerous. I think he's going to be dangerous for the Dallas Stars. It really does feel like there's been a bit of a weight lifted off the team, but especially Connor Hellebuyck going into this series. And I absolutely expect him to be at his Hellebuckian best.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about the Blues, playing with house money, feeling against the President's Trophy winners, feeling lucky to be in. I don't think the Jets feel lucky to be in, but I think the pressure of getting out of that first round is off them. The way that they advanced, it's almost like a bonus being able to play the second round, and I think they'll have a chance to get back to the game. I'm curious, how are they going to play on the road in this series? What are we going to see from Connor Hellebuyck? Are we going to see the Hellebuyck that showed up in overtime and really shut the door on several high-danger opportunities from St. Louis? And I think you have every reason to think that, yes, they've adjusted to playoff hockey. And one thing for me, too, is how's Dallas going to play? Like, I felt like St. Louis was hitting very hard. They came at the Jets very hard in several of the games. Now, we saw in Game 1, it didn't last for the full 60, and even Game 7, well, everyone just about ran out of gas near the end. But how is this series going to be? We've seen the numbers all across social media about how many more hits there were in the St. Louis-Winnipeg series compared to every other series. Are we going to see that kind of hard-hitting series again, or is it going to be more like some of the stuff you saw in the East, like Toronto-Ottawa, not exactly the hardest-hitting series out there?
I don't think that there'll be another series in the entire Stanley Cup playoffs like that Jets-Blues series. I mean, I guess maybe Vegas can turn it up and get to that point, certainly Florida. But I expect this to be far more determined less by the physicality and more by the execution of both of these teams. And I think the goalies, this head-to-head matchup between Hellebuyck and Ottinger is going to be a massive, massive part of the story. The other part of the story is how the Winnipeg Jet blue line can step up. Now, the 5 men that played after Josh Morrissey went out will always be a part of Winnipeg Jets lore. Legendary performances by Neal Pionk, Dylan Sandberg, Hayden Fleury coming out of the press box and playing 33 minutes, Dylan DeMello and Luke Schenn. Unfortunately, we don't know, again, game time decision. When Josh Morrissey's back, it'll be a huge boost, but this is the group with Colin Miller added in, as I mentioned off the top, who's going to be playing on the left side with Luke Schenn. They're going to need to get it done, and no doubt Neal Pionk will be the leader of that group, playing additional minutes and increased responsibility with 44 out. Neal Pionk met the media just in the aftermath of the Game 7 victory heading into tonight. And here's what he had to say looking back on the Game 7 performance.
Collective effort is the way I see it. There was 5 of us back there. We all took turns doing our shifts, and we did what we had to do.
Superman does have Jimmy Olsen. You had Big Jimmy.
Yeah, Big Jimmy was always there supporting me, too. 44 minutes, that's big numbers, too, so it was good.
Yeah, I remember Edmonton, you played over 40 minutes in that triple overtime game.
Yeah, 40, what was that?
40:08.
40:08, okay, so yeah, 46 new benchmark. I hope I don't hit 50. That's a lot.
Pretty wild, though, that 2 guys from the same small town combined to play 90 minutes in a Game 7.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I know you guys know all the story. We grew up 5 minutes from each other. Obviously, he's 4 years younger than I am, but I got 3 younger brothers, so I've basically known him my whole life. And for 2 guys to do that from a small town is pretty cool.
It's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. And I brought that up to Mike. I'm glad he kind of put that to Pionk in the media presser yesterday, because that entire town of Hermantown should be waving Jet flags right now and wearing 54 and 4 jerseys in and around. Here's a little bit more from Pionk on just the defense stepping up as the game went on.
It's kind of a rallying point, right? Like you see a player like Josh go down, who's been huge for us, one of our best players. It's kind of a rallying cry in the locker room, like, let's do this for him, let's do this for these guys. So that's where we took the motivation.
There's some incredible Jets media photos of Josh and Mark greeting the group or greeting Adam. What was it like to see them again after the win?
Oh, it was incredible. I think I gave each of them a hug. That's kind of the emotion that came out, and you could just see it in their faces too. Like, they wanted a second crack at it, and they're going to get it.
All right, there's Neal Pionk. Now, we can't talk about the victory and the scene without talking about what the role that the crowd had in it. Here's what Pionk had to say about the support of the whiteout helping propel them to round 2.
Well, yeah, the whiteout drives a lot of that. We feed off the crowd energy, have all year, and then in playoffs it's amplified. So we just wanted to show our appreciation at the end of the game.
Victor Faction, Neal, were you aiming for Adam's butt on that game-winning goal?
I was trying to get it by the first layer. It's simple as that.
Neal, how do you now channel the emotion of that whole series, but quickly turn the page and knowing you're starting, both teams are 0-0 now starting tomorrow night?
think it's a little bit of both. I think we can ride the momentum from the last series win, but at the same time reset and get ready for a new challenge with Dallas.
All right, speaking of Dallas, the Stars are in the building tonight. Jason Robertson, a game-time decision. Doesn't look like Heiskanen's going to play. So number one defenseman out on both teams. Here's what Pionk had to say about the challenge awaiting his Jets tonight to begin round 2.
Yeah, they're a heck of a team. Really well structured, really tight checking. And obviously they have a lot of skill too. So that's what we're prepared for in this series.
Neal, after a game like after a game like that, your loved ones, the people in your life, I mean, are people reaching out to you to just kind of revel in the moment, tell you how proud they are, and can you share any of that with them?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I had over 200 texts on my phone after the game, so it's cool hearing from people, whether it's your youth hockey coach, your high school coach, a friend from back home, whoever it is. I think that's pretty cool when they reach out too.
All right, there's Neal Pionk, and here's just one more, and this is something that we talked about yesterday, but this is how it sounded. Pionk letting everyone know what Helly had to say in the room after the third goal went in, going into the second intermission.
Yep, I think it was after the third one. In the intermission there, he said they're not getting another one. So when he says something like that, he believes it, and we believed him, and we knew we had to get 2 more for him, and then we were going to do the rest from there.
All right, there it is, Neal Pionk. Got a little prop on him on our series prop. We'll do that later on the Coolbet lines, but over 3.5 points for Pionk in this series. I like that. I think he's going to continue to be a big part of this moving forward, especially without Josh Morrissey. All right, Hrabchak's going to join us right away. This segment is brought to you by Ben Moss. Ben Moss is proudly Canadian-owned and operated with history dating back more than 100 years. With 3 locations in Winnipeg at Polo Park Shopping Centre, St. Vital Centre, and Kildonan Place, Ben Moss is committed to customer satisfaction. Check out a large selection of Canadian mined diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and mined diamonds available with payment plans to suit your needs. For more information, check out benmoss.com. Ben Moss, shine bright. Speaking of shining bright, let's welcome in Connor Hrabchak, who was down at the morning skate today. Connor, how are you? Ready to get back at it tonight in the whiteout or what?
Shocked that we're here talking about round 2.
You're not the only one.
It. I don't think it'll fully set in for me until I walk into the arena tonight and see Jet Stars on the Jumbotron and the seats covered with white towels. Like I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I can't believe that we're here, that we're talking about it, that happened on Sunday. And hey, let's buckle up another 2 weeks. Let's do it.
You know what? It's been so cool. Like just before we get to everything happening down with the team, you know, as someone that was a little younger than you, but right around your age, and was in the building for that Dave Ellett goal that put the Jets up 3-1, that really was sort of the high moment for the Jets in the 1.0 era, because unfortunately they didn't win that series. And there was a lot of roadblocks around there. For the fans of your age and your generation, your friends, to be a part of this, which, to be honest, takes that to the next level. And I mean, I know you've probably got a lot of friends or old classmates. I mean, seeing the youth of this city pack that whiteout party every day, there's a lot of people like yourself that kind of went through high school during the COVID years, like a very different period of sort of growing up than many of us did. And I got to tell you, I mean, these moments and the shots, my niece was in there. I saw a picture of her when the thing went up. I mean, speak to it. Just, I'd love to know, like, the people that you're talking to, the kids that are 18 or 19, 21, 22, how all in they are right now, and the reaction from the last few days.
Man, it's crazy. Like, I know so many people going to the street parties, the party in the plaza, whether they're in the building with their parents, because, you know, tickets are a little bit more expensive. I just graduated a week ago, so I can't fully say that I'm, you know, an adult now. I guess I can, but all of my friends are still in university. And yeah, like those street parties, they were at the Game 7 one, my friend group, and they said it was absolutely nuts. One of my buddies actually was debating going because he works really early Monday mornings. So as soon as the game ended, I was walking down to do media. I texted him. I was like, "Aren't you glad you went?" ? And he was like, he responded with the meme that was like pure cinema or whatever, like absolute cinema. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure you're glad you went." But yeah, people are so fired up. This is this generation's Jets memory, is like, where were you when Cole Perfetti tied the game with 1.6 seconds left and they won in double overtime? What a moment that was, that I'm sure Jets fans won't forget for a long, long time.
The craziest thing about Sunday, just before we move on eventually to the Dallas Stars and the order of business for tonight, Adam Lowry scores a double overtime Game 7 winning goal. And that is not the biggest memory from the game.
No.
Like, you know how insane something has to happen to overshadow a double overtime series winning Game 7 goal? But that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no kidding. And Huss, I was listening to the first part of the show that you were saying how you could see yourself in the video and you just like didn't move for 2 seconds because you're almost in a state of shock. I was the same way in the press box. Jacob Stoller, who I sit next to, sportsnet.ca, we do Sunday Live together. He was like, "I have a feeling they're going to tie this game." And I was like, "I don't know, man. Like, I'm not feeling it." And then they tie it. And I just sat there. I just couldn't believe what happened. And the place is going nuts. And then overtime felt like a fever dream. Like, everyone was standing. Everyone was still in their seats. Everyone was chanting "Go Jets, go" the entire intermission going into first OT. Then overtime, everyone's standing and no one sits down for double OT either. I'm like, are people going to sit? Like, this could go to 5 overtimes. No, everyone's standing. It was absolutely insane. And yeah, the 1.6 seconds left. That is the biggest highlight from this game. It's probably the best highlight in Jets history since they've come back. And yeah, Game 7 double OT, like, doesn't get much better than that.
Well, and you know, over the years, I often will see people at games and they'll ask me, like, you know, why are you not in the press box? And listen, the Jets have been great to us, and you know, I've been there, you know, earlier on in my career, but like, the reason why I have no issue buying season tickets and supporting the team, being a part of it, is because of that. Yes. Like, I would have lost it so much in the press box. I mean, there's the Big J rules. No cheering in the press box. No cheers. No beers. Listen, that was worth everything, being there to be a part of it, and maintaining good relations for WST with our friends at Jets Media Relations. That there were no scenes like up there. Although I imagine for some it was probably pretty tough. But we'll just leave it at that. Let's talk about today, though, because as much as I could talk about this game and the comeback forever, it is on to Dallas right now. And this Stars team, it's such a fascinating game, Connor, in that both of these teams survived near-death experiences on the weekend. And are now going head-to-head tonight. And I'm really interested to see the juice on both of these teams coming out of incredibly draining series and the most dramatic endings we've seen in recent NHL history.
Both teams survived a 2-goal deficit without their top defenseman and without one of their top forwards in Game 7 on home ice. Like, the similarities between these two teams is pretty incredible. And it looks as though both teams are going to get their forward star back tonight. They were both listed as game time decisions, but as you noted off the top, Mark Scheifele took line rushes as the top line center. They did power play work. He was on the top power play. He was in a regular jersey. You can't say the same about Josh Morrissey and Logan Stanley. They were in regular jerseys, but they did not take part in line rushes. So Gardino said everyone that was on the ice is a game time decision. I think Mark Scheifele plays. That's just my gut call because of what we saw in line rushes. And then for Jason Robertson, he skated yesterday at Stars practice with with Wyatt Johnson and Mason Marchment, and he took part in Power Play 2 work as well for the Stars. So it looks like he's going to play as well, even though he was listed as a game time decision. And Miro Heiskanen was ruled out by Pete DeBoer. So the injuries, the health, who can get healthier quicker is such a big storyline to this series. It looks like both teams are going to get their forwards back for Game 1. And then it's a race to see who can come back first between Morrissey and Heiskanen on the blue line. But such an intriguing matchup tonight. I mean, you have Ottinger versus Hellebuck. You have, does Cole Perfetti keep the Game 7 legend momentum rolling? I don't think he's taken that Hrabchak strong hat off since his Game 7 1.6 second tying goal. The Jets, if they get Mark Scheifele back tonight, which it looks like they will, all of their forward lines get snapped back into place, the ones we've seen all season long. I'm super pumped for Tanev, Barron, Iafallo as a fourth line. if Mark Scheifele's back tonight. Like, that's incredible. This is going to be such a fun series. It's the first ever matchup between these two teams in the playoffs ever. And there's a lot of intrigue and similarities going into the series for sure.
Yeah, look, listen, no doubt about it. And for the Jets to get Mark Scheifele back, it is, is just so big. I mean, listen,
100%.
Jason Robertson, amazing player, will be a huge boost to the Dallas lineup. But the uphill battle for the Jets to do what they need to do offensively without 55 in the lineup is devastating. And I mean, we all know the way everybody stepped up in Game 6 and particularly Game 7 when they had to. But we've said for a long time, this team will go as a few players take them, and Mark Scheifele is right at the top of that list. So to have him back not only for line one, but also for the power play. And, at this point, like, they survived St. Louis with Hellebuck not being Hellebuck and missing Velarde, Ehlers, Scheifele for significant points of the series. Very good news for that. And as far as the defense goes, you can maybe speak to that with Colin Miller, who I thought really acquitted himself well in the series coming in. Yeah, it's brutal that Josh Morrissey isn't going to be able to play, but that group showed that they were up to the challenge and could raise their level without their leader out there, led by Pionk and Sandberg. And I imagine it's going to be a ton of the Hermantown connection tonight going up against the top players on Dallas.
Every time you see 96, Mikko Rantanen, and White and Green hop on the ice, you're going to see 54 and 4 hop right on for the Winnipeg Jets. That pairing is going to play a ton against the Stars' top line. And yeah, you've got the projected lines up there. Remo does. Sandberg, Pionk, Fleury, DeMello, Miller, Schenn as the defense core. And I don't know about you, Huss, but I'm very glad that they kept the Sandberg-Pionk pairing together and didn't completely change every single line. That pairing's going to have to play a ton. Neal Pionk joked yesterday, you guys played the clip that the IV just came out of his arm going into practice. And he played 46 minutes. Sandberg played 44. Obviously, it was a double overtime, but I would not be shocked to see those guys creep around that 26 to 30-minute range tonight, especially if they're going up against the Rantanen and Hintz line, which I expect them to. And Hayden Fleury, Game 7 legend. Like, if he doesn't hit the outside of the post on that goal right before Adam Lowry scores it, he just grazes the outside of the post. We're sitting here talking about how Hayden Fleury came into the lineup as a player who played one game earlier on in the series and then completely, changed the narrative. Josh Morrissey goes down. He plays 33 minutes. What a game from him. So I'm really excited to see what he can do with Dylan DeMello there, kind of stabilizing that second pairing, but expect to see a lot of the Hermantown connection tonight for sure.
Yeah. And listen, I don't think it's a surprise that we've got Appleton back with Niederreiter and Adam Lowry. I will say this, though. The one change I would not be surprised to see potentially early on, and again, like, I know there's a lot of people that sort of, get on Appleton. I'm not one of those, but I am such a big fan of Alex Iafallo, and he's proven how impactful he can be, and certainly was in that third period and in overtime. I wouldn't be surprised if there is one tweak to the lines mid-game, depending on how things go moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more of 9 with the 17 line.
Yeah, so one thing that Scott O'Neill did in Game 7, and it really paid off, it might have saved the Jets' season, given how this line played. He put Kyle Connor with Adam Lowry and Alex Iafallo. That wasn't the line going into the game. It was Lowry with Ehlers and Perfetti. It was Nemeskov with Connor and Velarde. He juggled all of the lines, and that was his top line. And I thought it was a good, sense of the game move by Scott O'Neill. Like, those, I think, were the Jets' 3 best forwards at that time. Obviously, Cole Perfetti as well can be thrown into that group and was the hero with 1 second left. But that trio, Connor, Lowry, Iafallo, the shot attempts with them on the ice were 25-4 in the Jets' favor at 5-on-5. The scoring chances were 11-0. The high danger chances, I believe, were 7-0. That line absolutely dominated their minutes. And while everyone else was getting tired in OT, it looked like Kyle Connor was finding an extra gear. And Alex Iafallo, we talk a lot about establishing a forecheck in the playoffs and turning pucks over and what that can do for your team. Alex Iafallo brings that every single night. And it's no secret that players like Kyle Connor play well when Alex Iafallo is on their line because he gets pucks for them. Then a player like Kyle Connor, Adam Lowry can support the puck. They get possession. They can cycle it around. A guy like Kyle Connor will have the puck on his stick a lot because Alex Iafallo is trying to get it to him all the time. So I agree with you. Alex Iafallo, I thought, played a fantastic round 1, and I would not be shocked to see him higher up in the lineup midway through this game if things aren't going their way.
So take us out there this morning. I mean, the team gets out there. I mean, what was it like? Everyone just basically sitting there waiting to see who of the injured players or the guys, what colored jerseys they would be. But by all accounts, I mean, Mark Scheifele front and center. Hard to come away from this morning with any other assumption other than 55 is going to be back.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Took the line rushes in his usual spot, top power play. Josh Morrissey and Logan Stanley were both in regular jerseys, and they did not take line rushes. So while Scott O'Neill did say that everyone's a game time decision, I think Mark Scheifele, my gut is telling me Mark Scheifele's in, Josh Morrissey and Logan Stanley are out. We'll see. Obviously, stay glued to warm up and see who's on the ice. He said everyone is a game time call, so we'll see what the lineup looks like, but I think that's what you can expect. And yeah, there's the photo of Mark Scheifele there in a regular jersey, taking some face-off work as well against Adam Lowry to close out practice. So what a boost that would be for this Winnipeg Jets group to get their top-line center back who missed a few games because of that Braden Shen hit. And we did speak to Luke Shen today, Huss, down at Canada Life Center, and said, it was a really weird series for him because he loves his brother. He talks with his brother after every single game, usually. But this series, he couldn't really call his brother and be like, hey, I had a rough game. What did you think? What did you see? Because they're competing against one another. And Braden Shen, Luke said that he loves the way his brother plays. And it's just a massive emotional mix for him because he knocked Mark Scheifele out of this series with that hit and had the puck over glass in overtime. And Jets could have won it on that with Braden Shen in the box. Like I can't even imagine the mental toll that took on Luke Shen, or the emotional kind of swings when your brother's out there competing his heart out and you're hoping that he does his worst.
Did he mention how his parents handled the whole thing? I mean, what a time for the Shen family.
So he did mention there was that time in Game 6 where Braden and Luke were like barking at each other on the bench. And he said that their mom did not like that. So they got a talking to from mom that the trash talk was put to rest. And then he said that his dad going into the series said that all he wants is Game 7 overtime. And then the players can sort it out from there. So he got Game 7 double overtime. And the Jets came out on top. So yeah, what a feeling that would be as the parents. Like watching your two sons battle it out in Game 7 double OT. Crazy.
Yeah, just another incredible side story of a series that we will not soon forget. Let's get back to the power play for a minute because with Mark Scheifele coming in, like we've seen so many different incarnations of the power play through the playoffs because if it's Velarde's out, Ehlers is out, Scheifele's out. I mean, it's all over the place. Now with Morrissey out, is it Pionk and 4 forwards right now? I mean, what did you see from the power play unit for tonight?
It is Neal Pionk. You saw Neal Pionk make the pass to Kyle Connor down to Cole Perfetti for the Jets' first goal of the game in Game 7. So Pionk is remaining on that top power play unit. And then the 4 forwards, Cole Perfetti comes out, Mark Scheifele goes back in. It's Scheifele, Velarde, Connor, and Ehlers. So that's the power play they ran with all season long, the power play that was incredible. Obviously, Gabriel Velarde got hurt near the end of the year, and the power play really took a dive. The first round, like the power play took a while to get going, but in Game 6, they had 2 goals, and in Game 7, obviously, Cole Perfetti got them on the board with that one. So if the power play can get going, Dallas's power play in round 1 was over 30%. So the Jets will need their special teams to be better in this series, as well as their goaltending and their health, and the list goes on. But that power play unit, I'm definitely going to be watching for tonight because Josh Morrissey, he's more of a quarterback up there. He doesn't really shoot the puck all that much. It's really the 4 forwards that are moving around, creating offense. And I think if the Jets can get back to that, that's a huge advantage for them.
Well, and Pionk loves to rip it too,
he does.
As we saw in overtime. And I think they know that is going to be, I mean, getting lots of shots and action in around Ottinger is going to be important. As far as PP2 goes with the current setup, I would imagine Colin Miller getting in on that. And listen, what a boost to have, you guys like Iafallo, but have Cole Perfetti, who I think we've seen can be absolutely dangerous in so many different ways with the man advantage.
Hold on.
Did you just get muted?
I think we lost him because of the alert. Maybe. Is it related to the alert?
What alert?
Did you get the alert on your phone just now?
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it. Hey, Connor, pop out and pop back in.
No, I think he's good now.
Oh, hello?
He's
okay,
back now.
perfect. Oh, yes. We just got an emergency management organization. Did yours buzz? Mine didn't buzz. I guess I've got it on silent. That's probably the reason why.
Can you hear me? Are we
yeah,
good?
we can hear you now.
Okay, so back to the power play. I mean, we got an Amber Alert, but we got to power through. Yeah, PP2. Back to PP2. Yes, Cole Perfetti's there. You see Vladimir Messikov there, Niederreiter, Colin Miller. That is a unit where when Colin Miller was on it this season, it was very clear the plan was to get him the puck and let him shoot. Let him take his slap shot and just fire pucks from the point, get bodies in front, try and deflect shots, take the eyes away from whatever goalie's in net. And I would imagine if the Jets get a power play and that second unit gets out there, that will be the same plan. Obviously, Cole Perfetti, how good was he the final 3 games, or really the whole series in round number 1? Going into round 2, he's going to be kind of that quarterback distributor on that second unit, and they're going to look to get Colin Miller the puck and let him use that shot a lot, I'd imagine, if they're out there on the ice.
Everyone reacting to the emergency whiteout alert in chat right now that everybody got. Looking at Dallas, and again, I'm sure we'll see this group change, but having Heiskanen out means that they're going to roll with Petrovic and Bichel on that third pairing. And Connor, I think back to, and it'll be very interesting to see what these matchups are, how much those guys get out, how much they lean on those top 2 pairings. Because, I mean, even in that game on April 10th, I mean, remember what Morgan Barron did to Bichel running around. Like, as talented as the Stars are up front, without Miro Heiskanen, they aren't that deep on the blue line. And we have seen, certainly in games head-to-head against Winnipeg in their recent matchups, the Jets doing a pretty good job of making them pay when they don't have their big guys out there on the ice.
Yeah, we actually did a series preview this morning up on the Winnipeg Sports Talk channel. Liz and I, we were joined by Nathan Murdoch, aka Grav, has a huge YouTube channel, is a big Stars fan. We asked him to, pick a depth storyline that might have a big positive or negative impact for the Stars. And he brought up that third pairing, Huss. So if the Jets are out there, Tanev, Barron, Iafallo is the best version of the fourth line I think we've seen all season long. And if Mark Scheifele's into the lineup, that's going to be the fourth line. They're going to get an opportunity to do that. And Morgan Barron as well is another player that has just gotten better and better as that series went on in round 1, and is a player that can really step up in round 2 here. And if Alex Iafallo is on your fourth line, you're a pretty damn good hockey team. So that's going to be something to watch for sure, is can the Jets expose that third pair? Because without Heiskanen, Thomas Harley's the NHL time on ice leader per game, 28 minutes and 9 seconds per game of remaining players. So he's number 1. You're going to see a lot of Thomas Harley and Esa Lindell, and the Stars are going to try and mitigate the impact of that third pairing, as I'm sure the Jets will as well. Like I said, you'll see a lot of Sandberg and Pionk for Winnipeg as well.
What do you expect we get out of Helly? I am all in. I think it is going to be night and day. Obviously, I could be wrong. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. But I think that he looks forward to this goaltending matchup. I think he knows that he dodged the biggest bullet of his career. His team picked him up when they needed it. And as we have seen for years here in Winnipeg, he's very capable of returning the favor. And I don't know. I've just got a feeling that we're going to see the best of Connor Hellebuyck when we get going tonight and throughout this series.
I'm also all in. I'm with you. I truly believe that overtime was a turning point. Not only was Connor Hellebuyck, smothering rebounds and things like that, but he was big and boring. There were high danger looks, and he made them look routine. That's what Connor Hellebuyck did for 60 plus games in the regular season. That's what we know he's capable of. That's why he's going to be a 3-time Vezina winner and maybe a first-time Hart winner this season, is because he can make high danger shots look routine and have there be no rebound, no second and third opportunities. We spoke to Connor Hellebuyck yesterday at Canada Life Center, and he said that, the pressure's kind of off now. The weight of the world is off of his shoulders, is the quote. And I go back to the Colorado series and the exit interviews, and I remember Connor Hellebuyck saying that he put a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's trying to do it all. He's trying to carry the team. Even though the team was very good, he just has the mindset of someone who wants to put the team on his back. That's the mindset you want your star players to have. But as a goaltender, as Connor Hellebuyck, that's so positionally sound, big and boring, makes hard shots look easy to save, you almost that might almost work against him, putting all that pressure on him, trying to do too much. If Connor Hellebuyck is in the right position and he can see a shot, there's a very, very high likelihood that he's going to stop it. And that's what we saw from him in that overtime when the season was on the line in the biggest pressure moment of his career so far. So I think that really was a turning point for Connor Hellebuyck. I think this group is going to play a lot more loose tonight, knowing that they, are kind of playing with house money. Like, if you think about it, they really shouldn't be here. They tied the game with 1.6 seconds left. Like, that is an absolute miracle. And now here they are, home ice advantage. Connor Hellebuyck looks to be back, and I'm with you. I think we see a much, much better Connor Hellebuyck and a great goaltending duel in round 2.
Connor, great stuff as always. You're doing so much great work for us. Just quickly, give a quick plug to you and Liz with Grav, what was covered, and obviously it's up right now on the channel.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. Go check that out. Jets Stars preview. We drafted 4 X Factors. Grav, obviously, with the Stars perspective of thing, and then Liz and I drafted some Jets players, a star player we're watching for, a depth player, a unit, an intriguing storyline, and of course, I had to include some Dylan Sandberg stats in there. Liz included some Cole Perfetti things, of course. So go check that out on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. Late puck drop tonight, 8:52, like you said, Huss. So lots of time for people to check that out after WS.
Great stuff. Connor, we'll see you down at the rink, buddy. Keep it up. Thanks for doing this. And make sure everyone go over and check out the additional content on the channel before we drop the puck on round 2. Take it easy, dude.
Yeah, see you down at the rink, Huss. Thanks.
All right. There is a Connor Hrabchak. Listen, there's a couple things we want to get to. I saw Josh and D-Mart are in there right now. Jets minus 1.5 tonight. And D-Mart, I want a fly goal plus 275 and a Scheifele goal plus 190. I know D-Mart's a cool better. Anyone, guys, if you missed maybe this at the start of the show, anybody with a Coolbet account, which I know are many of you, and certainly you can get one if you want, go to winnipegsportstalk.com, click on the playoffs in the peg, and enter. We did the social media was for the first round. Now we'll be utilizing this for round number 2. Get your entries in. All you got to do is give us your name, your email, put your phone number in too, just so it's easier to get a hold of you if you win the tickets, and your Coolbet account or your Coolbet handle. And tomorrow we will be drawing the Coolbet tickets for the playoffs in the peg game 2 for the Winnipeg Jets. I got to shout out our pal Sean over at Let's Do It Travel. Sean, of course, great WSTer, but also helping WSTers get the most out of their vacation time and stretch their dollar further. Head on over to at Let's Do It Travel WPG. Make sure to give him a follow there. He's got a great stuff. He had that amazing deal yesterday on an all-inclusive, including a 5-star all-inclusive, including flights for like $1,400 in October. There's a lot of great deals there. Let's do it travel.com as well. And as I say, if you're planning a destination wedding, you can't screw that up, guys. If you're doing your all-inclusive next year, you want to make sure you make those right decisions and get the best deals out. And Sean and Let's Do It Travel will help you out. Again, at Let's Do It Travel, WPG on Instagram. And Sean's waiving the booking fees for all WSTers. Just tell him that we sent you. If you haven't got those Princess Auto Winnipeg Jets Whiteout Mania signs, they're going fast, but they've still got some. So get down to your local Princess Auto, grab those signs and display them proudly as we get into round number 2. And as the excitement ramps up, as the playoffs continue, keep on sending your submissions into winnipegjets.com/whiteoutmania for your chance to win tickets to playoff games, courtesy of Princess Auto and the Winnipeg Jets. And Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, out in Brandon. While you're picking up those signs, don't forget to peruse the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. You can also shop online 24/7, 365 at princessauto.com. It's not fishing time yet for the Winnipeg Jets, but later on this summer, it certainly will be. Can't wait to get out to Aikens Lake. If you're looking for a world-class fly-in fishing experience where you can be on the water in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg, Aikens is the spot. As incredible as the fishing is, the hospitality might be even better from the Trent family and the Aikens team. Find out more, aikenslake.com, on options and availability for the 2025 fishing season. And gotta holler at Andrew and the gang down at F Apparel. Guys, if you're looking to up your menswear game heading into wedding and grad season, F is the spot. You all know that. Custom suits, chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles. Best selection of menswear accessories around. And of course, 2 great promos right now. If you're in a wedding party, make sure to talk to the guys at F about a special discount when the guys get their suits for the big day at F Apparel. If you've got a 2025 grad, new suit for the grad means a free custom shirt and tie. All available right now at F Apparel, 190 Smith Street. Check them out online as well at F, that's EPHapparel.com, for the latest on all their promos, and you can make an appointment as well. All right, we got to get Rewucki in here. We will still to come today have Pat Gregoire of Coolbet. We'll talk a little bit more about the contest, get a couple of golf picks, and see how Patty's feeling about his Leafs going into Game 2 tonight. And the mayor of Winnipeg at the bottom of the hour. But Brandon Rewucki's coming up, and this segment is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers, who want to remind you to get in and go with the Toyota Tundra. Quality that means it has the strength to take on any challenge, off-road or hauling a heavy load, and backed by the peace of mind knowing it's a Toyota. Take the road less traveled in comfort, room for teammates, friends, and gear. And can we talk about how good this truck looks? Anywhere the Toyota Tundra goes, it is turning heads. From $154 weekly for 60 months at 5.19% APR with $66.99 down. Hybrid is available. Visit shoptoyota.ca. All right, let's get Brandon in here. Brandon Rewucki, Skates and Plates, our longtime pal, fellow TSN orphan. Brandon, we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot of hockey games, the good, the bad, the ugly. I never saw anything like we saw on Sunday. How have you been processing this for the last 3 days?
I mean, it's still hard to wrap your mind around, right? My brother, who I do the podcast with, was at the game while it happened, and then obviously, I don't know if you know, but he lives downtown. He walked in the exact opposite direction of his place after the game. He was just so out of it. He said it took me an hour to get home. I ended up at the ledge instead of being close to the studio there. So it's just like it's like a fever dream, like alternate reality thing that I think everybody's still kind of trying to, pinch themselves that this is real. But I mean, it was the best night in Jets hockey history. There really is just no other way to put it. I mean, it's a once in a generation. I know that term gets thrown out too much, but that was a once in a generation. Where were you type of moment for the Winnipeg
multiple
Jets.
Generations, I would say. I mean, for the young people that are packing those street parties, I mean, that was a seminal moment for them. The people in the room. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a teenager, a kid, a senior. There's never been anything like that. Simply, I mean, the Dave Ellett double overtime goal was a goal that in the 1.0 era was always thought of as a Randy Turner, the late great Randy Turner, of course, wrote the book, The Night the Roof Blew Off the Winnipeg Arena. I mean, that moment was sort of it. This took it to a whole nother level. Yeah. And like I said to Connor in the last segment, think of how insane it is if I was to tell you that Adam Lowry was going to score a double overtime series-winning goal in Game 7, and that would not be the goal that everybody remembered from the game.
It's so true. It's so true. And how many double OT Game 7 goals are there in NHL history? Like 4, maybe? Like I don't know the exact number, but that, like, just to your point there, that I mean, yeah, you just don't see things like that happen. You don't see 2 goals with a goalie pull. You don't see a game-tying goal with 1.6 seconds left. You don't see that goal happen after a complete whiff and then a tic-tac-toe of legendary proportions shortly after that. And I mean, there's that aspect of it. Then there's also the potential butterfly effect of if they don't win that game, right? Like, they showed so much resolve. Like to me, that was what stood out the most, was just this. so many teams say like, oh yeah, we're full of resolve and grit and determination. We don't. This Jets team really takes it to a different level. But you lose in the first round with all the previous baggage that you have, with the President's Trophy expectations. Who knows what would have happened in Game 1 of 82 next year? But we don't have to figure that out now, because they've basically been given new life, right? Like, they were revitalized. It was Lazarus coming back from the dead, and they've got an opportunity to continue to rewrite the narrative and the story about them, starting with, unfortunately, it doesn't get much easier with the Stanley Cup favorites in town tonight.
Well, I mean, listen, they pulled the all-time Undertaker move. I mean, literally sitting up out of the coffin and going up and choke slamming the St. Louis Blues and moving on to round 2. And I mean, again, we could talk about, I mean, the performance of Perfetti, the 2 goals in the game. I mean, he's in Jets legend status no matter what happens forever. I mean, that moment there. And I guess we'll kind of tie this into the challenges of going into this series without Josh Morrissey. The Game 7 performance of Neal Pionk is another one that is, you want to talk about a legacy. I mean, he's got his critics like a lot of people do, but man, he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is a big-time player. We saw it in the Oilers series. I still think back to the way he made McDavid's life miserable in that 4-game sweep of Edmonton a few years back that no one remembers because there was no fans there, but it did in fact happen. They won in overtime 3 times. Connor Hellebuck, by the way, in net too. He's pretty good. The Pionk, and now Pionk leading the way, I think, with a ton of confidence from what they were able to do in game number 7. And of course, Colin Miller coming in, who I thought had really acquitted himself well when he had the opportunity when he was in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Neal Pionk was superhuman in that Game 7. I mean, it really is an all-time performance. Not all-time Jet performance, not, what are the... You will not see a defenseman play to that level, too. Like, I think of some of the games Chris Pronger would have for whatever team he was on. Erik Karlsson in the Sens, like the level of impact that he had for the Jets when they they had no choice but to rely on him. The 12 minutes in the third period alone, and then he continues it with Sandberg in the double OT sessions. I mean, he was remarkable, and it's pretty crazy too that Elliot Friedman after the game goes, Neal Pionk made a claim to an Olympic American hockey berth with that performance. And it wasn't hyperbole, because if you play like that, yeah, you're one of the 6 best defensemen on pretty much any country on the planet. So he was unbelievable, like absolute, like in an inspirational performance. And he was great in the Vegas series too when they lost that a few years ago and Morrissey went down. Like pretty, like you said there, it's you cannot deny that he is, albeit, people usually think big time playoff guy. Oh, he's 6'3", 220, and when the going gets tough, he figures it out. It's like, no, this little guy is able to go up there and elevate his game to new heights. And I'll give a shout out too. I'm sure you've mentioned it, but Hayden Fleury was tremendous in that game.
33 minutes.
Tremendous. And he earned every second of ice time. And so that's what this team does, Huss. Guy goes down. All right, next man up. We got to figure it out here. Goddard Neal put so much trust into his players and into his very strict lineup. It's paid him off time and time again, and it did so in the biggest moment of the season a few nights ago.
Listen, as much as I can and probably will still be talking about Sunday night and Game 7 well into this series, there is business to get to tonight, and that's Game 1 against the Dallas Stars. And I don't know about you, I've said this earlier, but I'll double down on this. I think we're going to get the best of Connor Hellebuck in this series. It wasn't even close in the St. Louis series. But there he was in the third period and in overtime and in double overtime, not allowing anything in, although the team was so good in front of him. That honestly looked like a lot of the best of the Jets throughout the season. And let's think about this. When did we see the best of the Jets all year? Playing against some of the best teams in the league, including this Dallas Stars team. I went through the 4 games. Jets 3-1. 3 of their most impressive wins of the year were against this team. Earlier in the season in the Western Final, the day of the Western Final, that doubleheader, And then the two games in the back end of the season that really determine the Central Division. March 14th here in Winnipeg, a 4-1 win. And then the 4-0 win April 10th in Dallas. The Stars, for all their incredible firepower, scored 5 goals in 4 games against the Winnipeg Jets. And they just have played against this team before. They know how. Now they get Mark Scheifele back. It's not an unfamiliar opponent, but again, the regular season doesn't mean much. We all saw what they did. And man, both of these teams survived near-death experiences on the weekend, and now they're going at it. I mean, just thoughts on the matchup, and in your mind, the keys for Winnipeg, starting, I'm sure, with 37 to start this off right tonight and win the series.
Yeah, it's funny. It's two teams of destiny going toe-to-toe, and someone's going to find out that they're destined for a second-round exit instead of so it's kind of funny that like the intangible side of thing is somehow a wash because they both, like you said, put forth legendary all-time Game 7 performances there. But I agree, and that's, look, I think the main thing, even though I like the Jets matchup against the Stars, Dallas is not going to average 19 shots a game in this season. So if Connor Hellebuck is at a 870, 880, whatever that is, it's going to be 4 or 5 a night, right? So it's like, inexcusable, and it's going to have to be a much, much higher level of performance. But I was pretty surprised at how forthcoming Helly was and honest. Like, yeah, I was battling mentally. It was a big deal for me. And
he's got no filter. I mean, that's why he's the best interview. I mean, sometimes you might think he's nuts with some of the things he says, but he has no filter. He believes everything he says 100%. And, he owned it. But also, man, I mean, he has lifted this team up so many times and put them on his back. For the team to return the favor and do that in the fashion that they did, he said it. It feels like there's a weight off his shoulders moving forward. And to quote Helly, that's dangerous.
And he was a different goalie in the third period in the overtime frame.
His confidence level was just obvious. I mean, it was...
You could see it. Like, he's going out there and he's attacking the puck instead of letting it come towards him. So I think, I'm with you there, where I think we're going to see a much, much better Hellebuck. Is it going to be, Dominic Hasek-like performance? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think at the very least, it's going to be a pretty even battle between himself and Jake Ottinger. To me, the real turning point of the series is, and I think the one area that if the Jets win, they're going to find themselves in the Western Conference Finals, is if they're able to forecheck the Dallas Stars defensemen into absolute dust. That Stars forward group, there's really no weaknesses. Like it's unlike any forward group we see out there, where they're deep in terms of elite high-end talent. They're deep down the middle on the wings. Their depth pieces also perform extremely well come playoff time. Like up front, you wouldn't change a thing if you were a Stars fan. But you look at that back end, and we'll see how long Heiskanen's going to be out for. But even if he's in there, you look at Cody Ceci, Labushkin, Bichelle, any of the other 6-7
Michelle's probably out if Heiskanen comes back in. I mean, he got absolutely burned by Morgan Barron in that game on April 10th. And I think that is a weakness that can be exploited by the Winnipeg Jets, especially when Scott Arniel has the last change.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't move the puck well. Like outside of Heiskanen and Harley, there's a decent amount of struggle there. Lindell's a good defenseman. But again, even then, he's more of like a defensive complementary piece than a guy that you want carrying the puck out of your own end. So I think we'll see how much Scott Arniel makes adjustments or tweaks to his system. But I would love to see the Jets go 2 forwards heavy on the forecheck, really amp up the pressure on that Stars blue line, and let's try to play most of this series inside Dallas's end. Because trying to play rope-a-dope inside your own zone with Rantanen and Johnston, Duchesne, and so on and so on and so on, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be successful. And I think Dallas is more than, you can bet your ass that Pete DeBoer is seeing, okay, they can struggle net front. Like, we're going to try to make our presence known in that area. Again, one way you can eliminate net front issues in front of your goalie is to be at the other end of the ice. And so that's ultimately where I think the Jets need to have an overwhelming advantage, is to just pressure that Stars defense into turnovers, into poor decisions, and then you can try to attack them that way. Because if you give their offense a little bit of time and space and zone time to work with, it doesn't matter how, mentally strong Connor Hellebuck is. I think they're going to find a way. So I think that if they can win that department, you have to feel good about the Jets' chances in this series.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 8:30, more like 8:52 puck drop tonight. Get the naps in, folks, and get a couple in you and get ready to bring it in the whiteout tonight. Did you see the Oilers Vegas game last night?
I saw the first 2 periods, but checked out the highlights in the third.
The third period, this is outrageous, and I'm not sure how the Oilers can get away with this. They had Connor McDavid and Connor Brown switch jerseys because I saw a guy that went like 70 games without scoring a goal last year absolutely burn Shea Theodore in a tight third period of a playoff game. That was absolutely shocking. And, if the Oilers are going to start getting their depth players to step up like that, we could be talking about the potential of an all-Canadian Western Conference final.
Again, you want to talk about butterfly effect moments. If the Oilers go on to make this a championship level season, the start of the championship video is going to be the Hiller Challenge in Game 3. Because, who knows what happens if they don't make the boneheaded decision there, because it's crazy to think LA had them dead. Like, that series was not competitive for about 2.5, maybe even 2 3/4 games. And since that point, since that challenge, Edmonton has looked like this unbeatable, unstoppable force. And they're getting contributions from the entire lineup up front. The goaltending is basically doing all you can expect out of them, and that's just holding the fort and letting one less in than the other team does. But I'm blown away, man. Some of the games the Oilers have had these last few is just that's as dominant as it gets. Like, they had a game against LA where they, I think, expected goals. It was like 6 or 7.
Oh, it was 8. It was 8-1.
Yeah, like, who does that? Like, that's we don't see that at the NHL
That was on
level.
the road too.
Yeah.
Against the Kings, who were the best, like, stingiest home team, best defensive team, like all that stuff. Well, the Jets were the best defensive team, but you know where I'm going at. I've never seen a call flip a series, a terrible decision by a coach, an unnecessary one. They would have been 4-4 going to overtime, up 2-0. Still makes no sense. I have to do a mea culpa here. I had been pumping up the Washington Capitals, saying, the Caps, like the Jets, they've been the best team in the East all year. They're totally being disrespected. Why are they plus 141 underdogs for this series against Carolina? Why has Carolina been the shortest number all year in the East to win the Cup for the most part? Oh my God, did I misread that? That game last night, Rod the Bod's team is so relentless, Brandon. The Caps had no time ever to do anything. They barely had the puck. They couldn't get shots on goal. And it seemed inevitable, even when they were down 1-0 in the third period, that they were going to win that game. And man, that Carolina team is a handful. If they can play the way they did last night, I'm not sure that they're not representing the East in the Cup final, regardless of who wins between Toronto and Florida.
I know everyone's been saying whoever comes out of the Atlantic is kind of boot scooting boogieing their way to a Cup final, but I wouldn't be so sure. I also wouldn't say Washington's completely out of this series yet too. Like, that was a demolition derby that the Hurricanes put in there, but we've seen Carolina struggle to score goals, and they did in the game too, right? Like, even with all that domination and advantage, it's always been quantity over quality with them. And that can work sometimes, but there's some games where you might get, 2 goals in 3 games. And then you find yourself on the outside looking in, even though you had the territorial advantage. But I'm with you. I've kind of liked Carolina all year long. I've laughed a little bit that they've been calling this a transition year when they still have some really, really high-end pieces there. And then their team game is as good as anybody in the NHL. So, I had my final as I guess I did go with Tampa Bay out of the Atlantic side, but I had Carolina going all the way through the Metro Division, and I kind of think we're going to see that continue to play out here. But Washington, they they don't mind every once in a while doing the, you want to play the shooting percentage game? We can we can tango with that.
Well,
we got some good
that's
goalies.
certainly what they did last night because they barely got into the teens. Adam Draward says, Huss, I agree with what you're saying. However, the good news is they lost 2-1 in OT, playing their worst game. If the Caps actually play like they can, they will beat the Canes. They weren't close last night. So I don't know. I'm spooked because I was on Washington going in, and then I just was watching this game going, okay, am I an idiot? Have I just not watched? Did I not pay enough attention to, the Carolina Jersey series or Carolina all year? And listen, at times, I mean, they gave up a bunch of goals against Jersey. It wasn't the steamrolling that I think many people thought, but they were so impressive last night. Just quick thoughts on Leafs Panthers after the big win by Toronto, although losing Anthony Stolarz in game number 1.
I mean, the NHL has put themselves in quite the position here because I mean, Toronto's saying all the right things, right? Where it's like, hey, we beat them on the scoreboard. Oh, we just got to focus on this, that. This has the potential to go completely off the rails now. And really, the NHL only has themselves to blame in this situation. So I'm pretty fascinated to see how this game specifically is going to play out.
What do you think they could have done, though? Like, I really believe that concussion happened on that shot earlier.
Well, and so this is what I mean by the NHL looks awful here, because what the NHL is basically saying is that Bennett didn't cause the concussion. But what did cause the concussion was a shot an hour earlier that our concussion spotters clearly missed, and we left this goalie in the game to then take multiple headshots after that. Right? Like they just come off looking so bad here. But I don't know. I thought, to me, you can say, I mean, you cannot definitively say it was that shot that happened earlier. You can't say it was the Bennett thing. But again, Bennett interferes with the goalie while he's in the blue paint, hitting him in the head. Sure, it's not a Shawn Michaels elbow off the top rope, but and that's kind of the thing I'm seeing people see is well, the force wasn't that traumatic. Well, it was traumatic enough, regardless of what happened earlier, to have him puking on the bench between intermissions. So to me, it was easy enough for the league to say, look, goalie interference, shot to the head, knocked the goalie out, suspended a game. I thought it was a kind of a cut and dry situation there for a guy that has had tremendous history with headshots, especially in the postseason too. So I wonder a little bit here if this game gets out of hand on the scoreboard. If the Maple Leafs look for some level of retribution, Florida isn't going to back down at all. And so is there going to be a response from them too, regardless of which direction the score goes?
I think it's bad news that the Leafs go that route. I mean, they can't out-Panther the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers are the greasiest team. They would love for that series to get taken to the back alley. So I don't know, it'll be a really interesting game tonight. And of course, a lot of pressure on Woll to be able to get the job done, but it was a nice start. Man, what a fun. We've had so many conversations over the years. This one, we'll go back 10 years ago. Well, let's play that one on the Wednesday after game 7, just to check it out. Well, here we go. Round 2 tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fill people in on what you and Tyson are cooking up over at Skates and Plates.
Yeah. So we'll, I think I'm going solo tonight, actually. So we'll have a breakdown of each game between Jet Stars. So it's going to be a rough one for me tonight. I know that much, but we'll power through. I mean, I would appreciate if we left the double OT till a weekend game, but we'll have recaps for each game coming out each morning following there. So excited for that. And let's keep it going here. I could get used to some dramatic series clinching goals from Winnipeg's side of things and flip the coin on its head, right? And Winnipeg gets the better of this moving forward.
No doubt about that. Brandon, thanks for doing this, pal.
Beauty. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Good stuff. All right, there is Brandon Rewucki. All right, still to come, we're going to be hooking up with Mayor Scott Gillingham for a fun chat. Pat Gregoire is going to join me from Coolbet. We'll take a look at the lines for tonight. Jet Stars, Game 2 between the Leafs Panthers, couple amazing contests and promos that they're cooking up. And, of course, remind you how you can get in and potentially win playoff tickets courtesy of WST and Coolbet coming up in a few minutes. But, hey, shout out to the gang at Royal Sports. They are so busy right now, and That's a good thing for Greg Gerald and the gang, because that means the Jets are still alive and the whiteout section is doing big business. If you're looking for hats, if you're looking for white hoodies, if you're looking for pants, they have it all. And they stocked up just in time for round number 2. So if you need to add to your whites for whether it's the street party, getting together with your friends, going to Boston Pizza for the game, or going into the building and being part of the whiteout, Royal Sports has you covered. 750 Pembina Highway. And, of course, they've got bikes, soccer, baseball. There's some new Stanley Cup Playoffs Jets glassware as well. And the We Believe signs, which were so cool. Shout out to Ace, Chrissy, and the gang. They just got some more of those. So first come, first serve, limited quantities. They're the white hoodies. Royal Sports, your whiteout headquarters. Get down there before they are all gone at 750 Pembina Highway. And hey, speaking of t-shirts, of course, we know the Boston Pizza is the next best place to be other than Canada Life Center to watch your Winnipeg Jets with pick-a-player contests and that amazing new Boston Pizza playoff menu. Triple Pep Pizza, the Wingman Pizza, the wing flights are back, including that Scoville Showdown for you crazies that love it real hot. But, Reem, we did get a special delivery today, I understand. And our friends at Boston Pizza have done their own version of the Austin 316 shirt, but it's in white with a Winnipeg Jets theme. You want to show this one off?
Yeah, let me just go grab it. It's in the bag. We can do a quick unboxing. Hold on. I think it's upstairs.
A perfect unboxing right now. I see Isha Boy Bruce. I copped a We Believe sign yesterday from Royal. LFG. Love to see it. Kim Sawchuk, Jets need to protect their best. I don't think the Stars are goons that St. Louis was. They were out to hurt. Please correct me if I'm mistaken. I'm with you, Kim. I don't think this is going to be as rough and physical, but I mean, again, the bar was set so high. I'm not sure any series will be like that. All right, so this is our package from our friend Andrew and the gang over at Boston Pizza. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot of these at BP's.
How many do they give us?
I don't know. There's probably
a couple. There's a lot in here.
Perfect. We'll just grab one, show it off, and then we can figure it out. I mean, we're just starting round 1 today. But I know whoever thought of the version of of a nice wrestling shirt, here you have it. There's Austin 316. Now there's Cole 01.6 with the We Believe and BP. So there you have it. I'm not sure if those are available there. We'll find out more information, but have to be rocking one of those at the game tonight or under the white hoodie. Cole 016. We will never forget Game 7 and the most incredible, unlikely goal and scene in the history of the Winnipeg Jets. Shout out to our friends at Boston Pizza. And if you're not going to the game tonight, get on down there, take care of that playoff. Take a bite out of that playoff menu. And hey, it's a late game too. And you always know Boston Pizza has all their happy hour specials from 9 till 12. So doubly great reason to head over to BP tonight. We should give a big cheers to our friends at Little Brown Jug. Of course, you can grab yourself a 1919 or a generic lager at Craft Beer Corner at the arena tonight. And if you're gathering for parties, supporting Winnipeg, it's all about local. Make it Winnipeg's favorite local beer, Little Brown Jug. Big cheers to them right now on WST.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, listen, just before we have a chat with Mayor Scott Gillingham, Remo, I mean, listen, we've been so tied up in this game tonight and the insanity of the Jets. There's some massive Bomber news today on the day that rookie camp begins, but it has nothing to do with the rookies. Zach Collaros has been suspended for the first game of the season by the Canadian Football League. Fill us in on how this all went down.
Yeah, I got an email from the league at 12:45, like right about we were going live, and they said Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros has been suspended one game for failure to respond to Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport (CCES) officials for an off-season drug test. Personnel attempted to contact Mr. Collaros twice by phone, once by text, and once by email over a 2-hour period. He failed to respond within 24 hours. In consideration of extenuating circumstances, the CFL has reviewed this situation and has suspended him for one game. They note that he's never tested positive under the drug policy, and moving forward, the CFL and the CFLPA have agreed to enhance contact protocols for off-season testing of players. And under the policy, suspended players can't participate in regular season or postseason games. It's at the club's discretion whether to allow players to participate in other activities like training camp, preseason games, practices, or meeting. The joint policy mandates a total number of league-wide tests equal to the total number of players in the CFL. Testing is ongoing and conducted year-round. So the Bombers put out a statement.
I got this statement right here from the Bombers on the issue statement regarding the Zach Collaros ruling. Zach is one of the most respected leaders in our locker room and across the CFL, a professional in every sense, committed, accountable, a true example of what it means to be a Blue Bomber. There's no intent for wrongdoing by Zach, just missed a step in the process. Both the CFL and PA have since clarified and approved their communication protocols to help ensure this doesn't happen to other players in the CFL. Zach will miss our first regular season game, but will continue to fully participate in training camp and preseason games. As an organization, we're also reviewing and strengthening how we support players in navigating off-season requirements. Zach remains an incredibly valued leader on and off the field, and we look forward to having him back under center on June 21. That from the president and CEO, Wade Miller. So not great news to begin football activities for the year, but one game, the Bombers will figure out a way, and it'll be interesting. We'll be talking all training camp about who's going to be getting that start in week number 1 with Zach on the bench. We'll have much more on the Bombers as the camp and main camp gets going, and we count down to getting back to Princess Auto Stadium this year and seeing all of you there. All right, we have the Coolbet contest coming up. The lines, we'll hear from Scott Arneal as well, but right now let's welcome in Mayor Scott Gillingham of the city of Winnipeg to talk a little bit about the Jets fever sweeping our city and province. Have you come down from Sunday night yet?
Nope, not at all. I am still euphoric. It's unbelievable. I don't know how many times I have rewatched the highlights, of the second goal and the 1.6 seconds left, the tying goal, and then the overtime goal. I've lost track of how many times. I am working. I'm doing mayoral work. But in between, I'm absolutely rewatching those highlights.
It's funny you say that. I was going to ask you if the offices downtown at the city of Winnipeg were like pretty much the rest of the city, with production limited because everyone just can't stopping about what the hell happened at Canada Life Centre on Sunday night.
Everywhere I've gone since Sunday night, that's what people want to talk about, whether it's in our offices or our city staff or at events I'm at. It's kind of fun, though, because usually this time of year, Hustler people are opening their conversations with me with, hey, I got potholes. Now, we're not talking potholes, we're talking Jets.
We don't care.
It's great. We don't care. We got the Jets and an amazing, historic game. We will be talking about this game for decades.
Hey, like so many people that were at the game, I mean, the celebrations were crazy. Then we kind of came out and a lot of times people are kind of looking to get home. They got to work the next day. That was not the case on Sunday. I mean, I've never seen a scene like that downtown, really, especially since True North Square has been built. You and Wob, Premier of Manitoba, Wob Canoe, we're mixing about. What will you remember about and take away? And maybe just for people that weren't there, I mean, how will you remember that scene in and around the Hrabchak statue and in True North Square outside the arena after the Manitoba Miracle?
Coming out of the arena, well, in the arena and coming out of the arena, it was a moment of, can you believe that just happened? Can you believe the grittiness of our team, the push, the never quit from Hellebuck and Lowry and Perfetti and everybody. And it was just, I think we knew pretty quickly, we just witnessed something that is very, very special in sports. You just don't get to see. And our team did it. In the midst of it all, to be honest, I've had a bad back. I've had a disc issue for about a week and a half, been in a ton of pain. And so through it all, it was the best thing for me has been to stand, which was great because it stood through the whole, the whole, both overtimes. This is actually better for my back. So in the midst of it all, it was just euphoria, as I said before, to be a Jets fan in that moment.
We know how special this city, the team, and the fan base is, and there's nothing that brings us together like the Stanley Cup playoffs and these scenes downtown. And the team is now moving on, and in some ways got over a big hump in the first round, and hopefully is just getting started. How impactful is this on the city, Winnipeg? Just like put the mayor hat on for a minute, as opposed to the Jet fan. What does this do for downtown Winnipeg, and how impactful is it for a number of businesses and people that obviously over the last few years have had some real challenges?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It's really great for the economy, certainly downtown. People are coming in to restaurants and to the bars and spending their money on food and drink. People are coming in. Obviously, we have so many Jets fans who are not from Winnipeg but are from outside of Winnipeg. And they'll come in and spend hotel nights as well. So it's really good for our downtown, really good for businesses. But look, people are going to lounges in the suburbs and watching games with friends as well. So this is good for the local economy. I'm really happy for True North, right? We have one of the smallest, if not the smallest market. Extra games in the playoffs is good for the Winnipeg Jets as well for their revenues. So this is good news all around.
Yeah,
I'll also say this, Hustler, if I can. And the TV viewing, all eyes are on Winnipeg. From coast to coast to coast, people are watching the games in Winnipeg, and they're seeing the phenomenal scenes of the whiteout on Donald and the arena, inside the arena that looks like no other arena in the league when the entire fan base is in white. I was getting texts from my friends in British Columbia throughout the game going, you look phenomenal. The city looks phenomenal. I can't believe your Jets are doing this. This is great.
Well, and just on that, listen, we know that it's not cheap to get into National Hockey League games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but the way that, between True North, the street party, the party in the plaza, they really have made it, hopefully accessible for many, and we're certainly seeing it. I got to tell you, Scott, the scenes of the young people in that street party just absolutely blow me away. And listen, it is a different generation, a generation that many of these kids kind of went through like high school years in freaking COVID. These are experiences that now for young people, frankly, I liken back to like the Dave Ellett goal in 1990 for someone like me with the age I was at that time. And frankly, even better because we ended up winning the damn series this time and are moving on to round 2.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right because you and I had that in Jets 1.0. But to see like our kids are 29 and 27 and they're living this. They're drinking this in. My son and his fiance, they make sure they get to find a way to get to every whiteout, and they've been to a couple of games, but they are all in, and so are all their peers. So it's really, really fun. For all of us, in our generation to look at this younger generation and see them absolutely embracing the experience, embracing the Jets. And it bodes well for the future of the Winnipeg Jets fan base because this next gen is all in on this.
Hey, Mayor Gillingham, as we move into game 1 tonight against the Dallas Stars and hopefully keep on showing off our city and our team for a number of rounds and weeks. You mentioned True North, and I'm sure Kevin Donnelly and some of his staff is a big part of it. But who do we owe thanks to? Who are the people that maybe we don't know behind the scenes that are making downtown happen the way that it is right now during this great playoff run?
Well, the team at True North for sure, but they're in partnership with like our public works team, our Winnipeg Police Service team, our fire paramedic team. They're all there, to make sure that the fans are having a safe experience as well. So they're behind the scenes and doing that work, which is really, really critical. And so I think, and there's one person, for the city of Winnipeg who is kind of the catalyst and glue to get all the street stuff together. That's a guy named Kenny Boyce, who's in our film and special events. He organizes things really, really well. So a shout out to Kenny and his team too.
That is, listen, hopefully they've got a lot of work on their hands for the next month and a half. And
agreed.
Who knows what could happen.
Yeah, people you and I were talking about just before we went live here. It's fun watching guys like Perfetti, who I think I said to others, I said, I think we're watching Perfetti kind of grow up right in front of us. I mean, he has just been phenomenal in the series against St. Louis, just to see his growth, his development, his goals at pivotal times. Neal Pionk, just an iron horse of a player who is just so effective. Lowry being there's a reason he's the captain. So just so many great performances and gritty performances. Tana flying around the ice, bringing energy. It's fun watching all these guys step up.
Hey, and you know what? Just on the way out, Mayor, we heard from Connor Hellebuyck yesterday, who talked about the support that he's gotten from Jet fans and said very clearly that's why he's happy that he's going to be a Jet for life. Neal Pionk just signed a 7-year extension to stick around. Vlad Nemestikov, who was one of the heroes, did that as well. We know Winnipeg gets a bad rap at times, but as the mayor of the city, it must be incredibly just amazing for you to see the fact that all these narratives are basically being shown to be, frankly, false, not to mention a team that has captivated not only the people here in Winnipeg and Manitoba, but around the hockey world moving into what should be an incredible series against Dallas.
As mayor of Winnipeg, it matters more to me about what our own players are saying about this city and the fan base here rather than what others would say, right? From other cities, whatever. They're going to say what they're going to say. But you're right, Hustler, these players who are committed long-term to the team, it means something. They're committed to the city. They're committed to one another. They're committed to the organization. They're committed to our fan base. And that says a lot. And the final thing I'll say is this, is that what I really appreciate about our Jets team, for sure, we've got a ton of talent. Hellebuyck, will be a Hall of Fame goaltender, but they're men of character. These are good men. They're good young men. And I know that True North has kind of built that organization around character. Character matters to them. They've got to be good people. And when you see these guys out in the community doing stuff, at hospitals or Toba Center, and just representing the city well and their team well, to me as mayor, that means a lot because as mayor, I'm very proud of this Winnipeg Jets hockey club.
It's funny you mentioned character. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that interview with Adam Lowry and Rick Bowness on TNT after Game 7. And Bones, in a lot of ways, was the guy that came in and started, or was the true catalyst of the culture change. Scott O'Neill was part of it and has taken it to the next level. And the guy with the C on his chest, Adam Lowry, a huge part of it. But everyone's had a piece of this one, both from the players and I would say from the fans as well, Scott. And hopefully we're just getting going. Have a great time tonight. Enjoy Game 1. And let's hope that we can stay in touch throughout the playoffs as the Winnipeg Jets continue to make everybody here proud and pull people out of their seats like they did on Sunday night.
Go Jets, go.
All right, great stuff with the mayor. I did crack up. Go Jets, go. Hi, Mayor. When are you going to fix the sinkhole in front of my house? Nobody cares. We're going to round 2 against Dallas. Let's just focus on this. The potholes, the sinkholes. Hopefully the Jets will be a sinkhole for the Stars' playoff hopes, beginning with a big comeback by Mr. Hellebuyck coming up in a couple moments. All right. We will have some Scott O'Neill coming up in a few minutes, and we're going to go probably a little longer than we normally do. Pat Gregoire is going to join us from Coolbet in a minute. We got some great news for you on a couple amazing contests that you can all get in. But let's do the why not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. And his thoughts on this series. We're going to have Remis throw up a poll right away. And we'll basically pose it like this. I mean, very simple, like predictions for the series. I think most people are pretty optimistic around here for obvious reasons. I mean, if you don't believe in this team now after what happened against St. Louis, I don't know if you ever will. But this is a hell of a team that the Jets are playing in the Dallas Stars. So why not question of the day? Thoughts on it? We're going to put a poll up right away. You can vote. We'll get to your feedback in a moment. But thoughts and predictions on this series coming up. Shout out to the Knot Gang. I know they are all fired up for round number 2. Are the Jets winning the series versus Dallas? You've got yes, feeling confident, yes, but it'll be close. Not sure, could go either way, or no, Stars are too strong. Let us know in the chat. We'll get to your feedback for Fans First in just a couple of minutes. Hey, off day for the Fish today, and tomorrow the Winnipeg Goldeyes season will begin. I cannot wait to get back out to the ballpark with all of you. We'll be doing a patio party in June at some point. We've got a couple other group days planned. But if you're getting ready for the season, you can get your group tickets, flex packs, season tickets, suites, bookings for that patio. If you've got a company event you want to do it, 982 base, hook up with our pals at the Goldeyes. And good luck to Logan Watson and the fellas as they start off the season tomorrow in Cleburne. And speaking of Logan Watkins, I always call him Logan Watson. Our guy Logan, he's back, manager of the year last year. So close, and we might have him on tomorrow as well. We're going to see if we can arrange that down from Cleburne, Texas. ASD is starting next week as well. Goldeyes home opener is the 20th. Next Tuesday, though, the first day of live racing at ASD for the year. We'll probably do an event out at the track as well right now. But this is a great time to look at the live racing schedule, make your plans to take in that incredible buffet up in the clubhouse dining area. You can make reservations by giving ASD a call. And of course, there's nothing like getting out and watching the ponies at the track at our beautiful facility. Tuesday, Wednesday is pretty much the race nights all year long, with a number of Mondays added in, but we're going a little longer into October this year. But opening day is always a great one. Make plans next Tuesday to get out to Assiniboia Downs and get it started. And it was kind of funny, our Breezy Bend golf report, Patty's going to jump on. We're going to get into a little bit of golf. We've got the PGA Championship coming up next week. We've got the Truist this week, which is a pretty star-studded field, minus Scotty Scheffler. And of course, our golf reports all season long, brought to you by Breezy Bend. Cannot wait to get out there. Actually, Coolbet being involved in the RBC qualifier for Cabot. One of those is going to be out at Breezy. And of course, the Manitoba Opens at Breezy this year as well. And we'll be broadcasting from there. If you want more information on getting on the waiting list at Breezy Bend, give our pal Corey Johnson a call or find out more online at breezybend.ca. All right, before we bring in Patty, and again, we do have Scott Arniel, which will finish up the show with the latest from the rink as we get in for tonight. Let's get us some fan feedback. Brought to you by fansfirst.ca. Fans First, the only ticket resale site with no fees. What you see is what you pay. And just because I'm sure people would be interested in, let's see what we're looking at tonight over at Fans First if you want to get some last minute seats. Looks like the get-in price is $175 Canadian. You can get, there's a couple in $316 for $175 in row 11. You can hang out in the best section in the park in the building if you want there. 175, some 180, 199. So that's in the upper bowl. Not a lot in the middle zone. They're in and around 300. And then the lower zone, pretty much the same thing. So again, when you go to Fans First, what you see is what you pay. So if you're dying to get into the game tonight, head on over there. They can help you out. The fan feedback from all you is the Jets will win this series, but it'll be close. 45% of you there, and 39%, yes, they are feeling confident. Not sure, could go either way, 15%. And no, the Stars are too strong, only 2%. I love it. The belief is so high in the team right now, as it should be, after such an absolutely incredible victory on Sunday night. All right, we will have Scott Arniel for you before, but it is an absolute pleasure to welcome back to the program our good friend who understood the assignment and dressed for the occasion as Patty Gregoire from Coolbet joins us now. Pat, looking good. I mean, hey, the Coolbet shirts always look great, but the white one, a very nice choice as you enter the whiteout in WST as we head into Game 1 tonight.
I couldn't find my rally towel, so I had to settle with the white shirt. I figured wearing blue and white today for the Leafs might have been a little bit problematic coming out of this program, but I get it. You guys got your own task at hand, and be quite honest, man. Doesn't matter if you were a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs or anyone besides basically the Blues. It's hard not to have a smile on your face just seeing the way that game ended, the scenes, everything, the way that we even got to overtime. Like, we always hear the word all-time classic, but like that's going to go down in not just Winnipeg sports lore forever, like just Canadian sports lore forever. What a moment.
Yeah, I mean, dude, NHL history, and we're talking about this game tonight between Dallas and Winnipeg, and we'll maybe start there as we get to the Coolbet lines for both it and the series. Both of these teams pulled all-time undertakers and had near-death experiences on the weekend. I mean, the fact that in NHL history, only 3 teams had ever come back from 2-goal deficits in the third period of Game 7 to win, and then it happened on back-to-back nights is still something that is hard to wrap your head around. And I did tweet after the second period, let's just do what Dallas did last night. That's all I got. And it was a little different. It wasn't a one-man show like Mikko Rantanen doing it, but it was there. Now, listen, as we get to the lines, and I'll pull that up, I mentioned this at the start of the show, but we've teamed up with Coolbet, and there's so many Coolbetters that have supported us, the Lock Shop, everything that we're doing here on Winnipeg Sports Talk moving forward. Want to reward some of the Coolbetters with some seats to the playoffs, and you know what that means, putting the whites on and getting behind the Winnipeg Jets. So right now, if you go to winnipegsportstalk.com, right at the top, there's playoffs in the Peg giveaway. What you're going to want to do is go down there, pop in your name, your email. I would suggest you don't have to, but put in your phone just so if you win, we can contact you, and your Coolbet username. Now, if you haven't been playing at Coolbet, don't worry. There's a link right there. You can get an account. If you're making a deposit, put in the promo code WST. You'll get a 100% bonus up to $200. But if you've got an active account, you can get in there. We'll do a marble race tomorrow for Game 2, Friday night tickets, and then we'll do it again next week for Game 5, and if necessary, Game 7. So, Patty, it's great to have you on. I mean, I know the feedback we got from the winners in the first round was just absolutely amazing. But, as we kind of grow doing more things together, this has been a home run, and I know that everyone that has supported us and getting on my WST parlays or jumping on a Kyle Cole anytime goal prop. I mean, why not try and send some of our great listeners and viewers out to the most insane venue in sports right now, the Canada Life Center?
Yeah, it was a no-brainer, to be quite frank. We love our partnership with you guys, but the chance that we were able to get some playoff tickets, we knew exactly who we were going to call and get hands into the right folks. And yeah, the feedback was great. It seems like everyone had a blast. And I mean, how could you not with just the way that series unfolded? And we wanted to continue it, but we wanted to make it a little more exclusive. I guess it was a bit easier to win last time. This time, though, you got to be a cool better. So like you said, it is worth the price of admission. Sign up. Make a little deposit. Make sure you use that WST code as well to double your deposit. And again, there's going to be some other great contests and some poker tournaments. So even if you're not a huge sports bettor, there's something for everyone when it comes to Coolbet. And the main takeaway right now is you want to get some tickets. It's going to pay to be a cool better. That's
yeah.
For sure.
Listen, I mean, we want to reward the people that have been supporting us, and certainly you guys as well. So the link's right there. Again, so many of you are already with us. So just make sure you enter, put your username in there, and we'll wish you all good luck tomorrow. As far as the series goes, of course, there's series prices on everything for tonight, and we do have my series exclusive for WST, which is the Jets to win the series Ehlers and Perfetti, each with 2+ goals, and Neal Pionk with 4 points or more in the series. That's plus 950. And then we've got one for tonight. This is tonight's game. I'm actually going to bet this right now while we're doing this because it's conveniently right in front of me. We're going with the Jets win. We're going a Kyle Connor goal. Welcome back, Mark Scheifele. And a Neal Pionk point. So KFC to score, Pionk to get a point, Jets to win. Nice boost from the fellas as they always take care of us, up to plus 625. But as far as the actual series goes, before we just get to tonight's game, couple numbers that I think people will be interested in. Kyle Connor's goal total for the series is over or under 2.5. Neal Pionk's total goals is 0.5. You think Pionk will score? And again, he's going to get a lot of run with Josh Morrissey out at least to start the series. Minus 120 on the over there. Cole Perfetti, the hero from Game 7, or one of them, over 1.5 goals is even money for the series. Nikolai Ehlers over 1.5 goals is minus 133. And obviously the Scheifele ones aren't up because it was so unclear of whether he would play. You got Gabe Vilardi as well at over 1.5 at minus 167. Player points for the series. Perfetti. Listen, this Perfetti number is pretty juicy. Over 4.5 is plus 225. More than double your money. I might I might re-up in on that because I mean, Pat, he has been such a big part of the story as the Jets came back in that series.
Well, to give you a little insight behind the curtains, this one opened up at 3.5, and it was bet so much that, you know, the juice just wasn't even worth it at this point. So the odds makers actually had to bump it up to that 4.5 to mitigate the risk, but also just realize, like, oh shoot, maybe we should have opened it at 4 instead of the 3.5 because again, the WSTers and the faithful for Winnipeg ran to that and bet that number over. The one that I like, the one that I really like is I like Neal Pionk. Over 3.5 is what I really like for his points, his goals as well. But you said it when Brandon Rewucki was on. Like, this is a legacy staking playoff run for him. What he's been able to do is remarkable. And I know people know his name in Winnipeg and are taking notes or have, but I think the rest of the country are really starting to see who this guy is and just what a big time player he's become.
Yeah, no doubt. He was getting a lot of love from the national media as he deserved after that game. As far as the series goes, listen, this is a close series, but the Jets are a juicy underdog. Plus 141 if you think the Jets can win the series. Dallas is minus 172. You can also do series spreads or exact score. But I think for me, let's just find a way to get it done, much like they did in round number 1, and go with the plus 141 on the series price. As far as tonight goes, the Jets are a very slight dog at home. Minus 104 on the money line to win. Dallas minus 112. The total for the game is 6. I don't mind that under, to be honest, at minus 122. And Jets minus 1.5. I saw someone saying they were locking that in at Coolbet in the chat. Plus 230, if you think that'll be the case. Now, Pat, let me ask you this. As a member of the Leafs Nation out there, how are you and everybody feeling after Game 1? I mean, a great win. They faced down some of their demons in that third period. I was on the Leafs. I told you, I backed you guys in game number 1. I thought they came out and did what they needed to do. They're a much bigger underdog tonight, and I think a big part of that is losing Stolars. Where are you at on the Leafs' chances to go up 2-0 right now, and how do you think they'll respond to what happened in game number 1 to their netminder?
Oh man, it was the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in that game. That's usually the Toronto Maple Leaf experience, but the lows were for some different reasons. Like you said, Sam Bennett goes out, collides into Stolars, whether you want to say that was accidentally on purpose or truly was an accident. When you're dealing with a guy with Bennett, you kind of lose the benefit of the doubt with just what he's done over the years. But George Peros and the player safety department decided that wasn't the case. And, I think one thing that Florida does really well is mucking it up, and they're not afraid to take flesh from the other team. And I think this is another point where you can't get distracted in that that stuff. That's what they do. They'll drag you into the mud. That's what they want. They want to create distractions. If you're Toronto, of course, one thing you'd love to do is get some vengeance for your goaltender, but you also can't forget the task at hand. And that's the ability to head back to South Florida up to nothing. I honestly, truly believe that first 40 minutes, especially that first period, that was the best 40 minutes we've seen from the Toronto Maple Leafs, bar none. William Nylander was buzzing. Matthew Nyes was all over the place. Morgan Rielly got in on the rush. They had contributions from all four lines, and the defense was not afraid and handled that aggressive forecheck from Florida, which 2 years ago, that defense could not handle it at all. With that being said, you lose Stolarz, who has been solid all playoff long, a little bit shakier down the stretch in that series against Ottawa, but nonetheless, I think he is no doubt has been the best goaltending performance that we've seen from Toronto in many years. Joseph Woll, I'll say this. It was not his best appearance and not his best performance, but that is a tough ask to come into a game halfway through the game after your goalie mate just puked in front of you because of his head trauma. You go in, and to be quite honest, Toronto kind of let the foot off the gas, and he was peppered pretty early and often. I think Joseph Woll is a great goalie. There's a reason why they ran a tandem all season long and just didn't run with Stolarz, because they have a lot of faith in Joseph Woll. And when you hear the coaching staff talk with Craig Berube and the players, they have full belief in Joseph Woll. And that's why I definitely think the confidence in the group is probably with Stolarz, but this is why my favorite bet for the night is under 5.5 at plus 100. And I think if you want to maybe take a little bit of a safer play and buy that extra point, under 6 at minus 128. You ask both coaches, never mind the goaltending. Both these coaches want a much closer check game. I think that Florida will defend a lot better than what we saw. Florida did not expect the start from Toronto. And to be quite frank, Toronto didn't really expect the start from Toronto. I think, especially with Joseph Woll in net, I think they're going to want to tighten things up as well with Toronto. And Toronto has been a team that's defended well. I actually saw that every single game so far this season went under 5.5 between these two teams leading up to this. And even when you look in the matchups back in 2023, only one time it went over the 5.5. So for me, no doubt about it, I'm going under. I really like this here. I'm not going to overreact from last game, the goal fest that we saw, and overreact with a shaky start from Joseph Woll.
One other quick thing, and listen, we're going to really dive into some golf, particularly next week, because it's the PGA Championship.
Yes.
We'll hit the truest quickly, but if I know waiters will love this one. If you like the Jets tonight and you like the Leafs, there's a couple beauties in the combo cards. The Canadian home dogs, Jets to win, Leafs to win. That's boosted from plus 341 to plus 393. And how about the Lamplighters? Austin Matthews will score. Kyle Connor will score. That one's boosted from plus 431 all the way up just about to 5-1. Plus 496, especially for you new cool bettors. Always check out the combo cards. There's some great boosts there that if you like it, you're going to get a great deal. And then the Winnipeg Sports Talk exclusives will be in the exclusives tab. Click on that. Click on Winnipeg Sports Talk. The series offering and tonight's offering. Kyle Connor goal, Neal Pionk point, Jets to win, plus 625. Now.
I want to bring something up, and I know this is one of your favorite bets. You and I and Jake's and everyone in the chat here, probably their heart isn't going to like this one, but based off what we've seen from this series, and even just with what we saw from the Stars and the Jets in their previous series, I could see overtime. Both games are plus 320 to go in overtime. I think I might sprinkle a little bit on both, but if you parlay to them together. The double OT special, 1664. That has been nice to us. You and Jake got me on that train.
Well, back in 3-point season when everyone was just looking to get to OT. That's
I feel like
wild
we could see some
tonight.
overtime.
That's a wild one tonight, and that's churning stomachs here right now, Pat, because the puck is dropping in Winnipeg at 8:52 p.m. It was one thing for double OT on a 6 o'clock start on Sunday. I'll tell you what, the fans will be here for it if they have. Now, As we mentioned, if you are a cool better, get in that contest at winnipegsports.com. Click on playoffs in the peg. For everyone that is new, just before we do our golf picks, definitely head over to the promotions tab. There's all sorts of cool stuff, but one in particular, as we get ready to talk golf for a couple minutes, Patty, the golf trip of a lifetime. This contest, there's been some incredible ones that Coolbet's put together. Longtime listeners know I've been fortunate enough to be on a couple of them. But Coolbet's sponsoring the RBC Scramble, and this contest is absolutely insane. Now, all you need to do is opt in. You'll see every time you're betting, when you get to a $50, boom, you get a raffle in it. But Pat, this isn't just like, oh, go out. This is like you and 3 friends, guests, playing 3 rounds at some of the greatest golf courses in the world. Yeah. What an incredible opportunity for golf lovers, especially in advance of the PGA Championship next week, to get out to Cabot, which is truly a one-of-a-kind opportunity and one of the most unique places in Canada and in the world to golf.
Yeah, this is one of the things when we partnered with the RBC Scramble and the PGA of Canada, was talking about some of these cool experiences that we could offer for them, their membership, and for our cool bettors as well, and for WSTers. And this is exactly the stuff that we want to do. You can go on any website and place wagers. 9 times out of 10, Coolbet is going to have the better odds anyways. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to have the cooler promotions as well. And this one, no doubt, I think this is personally my favorite one. You talk about it. It's your round flights to Halifax with your shuttle to the resort. It's you and 3 friends, 3 rounds at the Links, the Cliff, and the Nest. Like the Links and the Cliff course is ranked, I think, like 1 and 3 respectively in Canada, and are considered like a top 15 course on the planet. So simply enough, for every $50 you wager in the sports book, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be a $50 wager. It's for every 50. So if you place a $25 on the Jets to win tonight, and then tomorrow you bet, $25 on Connor McDavid to score a goal, as long as you've opted in, that counts as one raffle. And if you're a casino player, it's $75 for every $75 in the casino. That will go to one ticket. Once this thing all wraps up, and this is a pretty long contest as well, goes up to Labor Day, you'll collect all your tickets, and all you need is one. Of course, the more
chip in a chair, they say.
All you need is one chip in a chair. Absolutely. So we've had some of these contests before where guys have won when they have been in the top 3 of the leaderboard. We've also had people that won some of these leaderboard contests where they're maybe in 15th place. So all you need is one. And selfishly, I'm trying to figure out a way how I can get myself on this trip and maybe be the liaison between Cabot. Yeah, exactly. Because this is a bucket list trip, man. Absolutely is.
No, it is. Anyways, check out the promotions. Just simply opt in on that if you are playing at Coolbet, and make sure you go to our page, winnipegsportstalk.com, and enter in the playoffs in the peg contest. We'll be giving away game 2 tickets tomorrow as per the contest. All right, listen, just quickly before we go, we do have the Truist Championship warming up for the PGA next week. Rory's back. He's a plus 450 dog. And as right now, I think we're going to be getting Scheffler or McIlroy as really short numbers, unless they're both in the tournament, and then that'll be a little bit higher. JT at 12, Morikawa 14, Xander 14, 16s for Oberg and Pat Cantlay, Tommy Fleetwood at 20, Henley and Vic Hovland at 22, Daniel Berger at 25. I was talking about this earlier today. I think JT is on the verge of maybe a breakout. And I think, like a lot of these guys, they'd rather win next week than this week. So I think JT will be there. Pat Cantlay's a guy that hasn't won in like 1,000 days or something like that. He's one of these guys that's kind of automatic for top 20s a lot of the time. Wouldn't be surprised if he went on it. And further down the board, for me, I love where Vic Hovland is, and I think he's really pulling it together as we get closer to the PGA. But who's on P. Greggy's card this week for the Truist before we wrap?
Well, you said it. One of the guys, Victor Hovland, he already won this year. I think he's a guy that when he's on, he's absolutely on. And in these elevated events, I think you have to look at the big dogs, just with how some of these guys have been playing. In the smaller events, like what we saw last week or in previous weeks, where the long shot, the 100 to 1s have a chance, or even like the 80s to 1. I don't think we've had someone win a signature event on tour so far that has been less than 20 to 1. So I do have a couple of sprinkles, but Hovland's there. He's actually second in the field in stroke gains at the Tillinghast design courses. So he's had some success here. That's another crazy thing about this. The Truist is this year, it's at a course that they've never played on tour, the Philadelphia Cricket Club at the in Philadelphia, so just outside Philly, actually. So we don't have any like course history, so we got to look at some of the other courses that are comparables, and so that's why I like him. Ludwig Oberg, 16 to 1. Again, a guy that's going to be able to knock off the likes of Rory. He's done it already this year. The one thing as well, fast, firm greens, bent grass greens, and Ludwig has been unbelievable strokes gained off the tee as well and driving distance. So you got to have a hot flat stick on these greens, but you also have to be able to mash it off the tee and keep it in the fairway. So Ludwig at 16 to 1. And then I said, of course, I've got to have a bit of a long shot here. Justin Rose, 66 to 1. It's been an up and down season for Rosie. He finished T47 at the Texas Open and then followed it up with a loss in a playoff to Rory at the Masters. Then he followed up with a T42 at the Heritage. So based on trends, he should be looking at a top 2 finish here. But no, in all seriousness, it has, he's had some really, really good finishes at very difficult courses. And all things kind of show that this could be a tough course this week. They're saying it's going to play more like a US Open course. So when you look at what he's done in his top 3 finishes this year, top 10 finishes, Augusta, Bay Hill, like he has competed at some of those tough courses. And another nugget here, 7 of his 11 PGA Tour victories have come on bent grass greens as well. So that's the same as Augusta. You guys saw how good he was putting at Augusta National. I think he is a possibility. If we are going to look up the board, again, it's going to need someone with the gumption to have that big round, roll those big putts, and not be afraid of the limelight. And I think Rosie's certainly that guy.
Why don't we put our heads together, a little tag teamer? Why don't we go Ludwig, Cantlay, and Vic, all top 20s?
Love that.
All right, let's do it. So, like usual, the guys are great. They'll send it over to Evdog and the crew, and we'll get that up in the combo cards. Top 20s for Ludwig Oberg, Patrick Cantlay, and Victor Hovland. We'll have that up in a little bit over there. Patty, what a night. Both our teams are playing. You guys go first. Good luck. I'm going to get on that Canadian home dogs parlay, and we'll look forward tomorrow to sending somebody to game 2 here in the Peg with it. Thanks again for doing this. Say what's up to Ange and Jake, and we'll look forward to doing this a lot more often moving forward with you guys. Thanks for doing this, and you look great in white, buddy.
Go Leafs, go Jets, go. How about
Thanks,
that?
pal. There's Pat Gregoire. You can give him a follow on X at PGreggy, and of course, make sure you're following at Coolbet Canada. My plays of the day will be up there. Many other things that we're cooking up with there, and again, lots of great contests as well. So if you are someone that likes sports betting, and you're not already at Coolbet, what are you waiting for? Take advantage of the WST boosted parlays and those great contests that we just mentioned. And someone tomorrow is going to game 2 on Friday night. All right, this has been a long show, but it's good. We've got a late start tonight, so people have plenty of time to do it, to check it out. We heard from Neal Pionk earlier today, but we did want to promise. It took a little while to get it. Shout out to Legal Curve, Dave Manouk, killing it, getting the audio today from the head coach. The last time we heard from Scott or Neal, I think there was a big exhale. It was about preparation. Well, today's a game day, and it's all business for the Winnipeg Jets. Here's Scott or Neal on, wanting to be better at 5-on-5 heading into this series.
First of all, we've done our post kind of work on St. Louis and kind of things St. Louis is off the table now. So now it's about Dallas and what they do well, where we can maybe exploit them. I think that, I think it's just a situation that there were some things that happened in that series that we got to clean up. But there's also some of it comes from the opposition and what they do. Dallas has, there's some similarities, but there's also some big differences too. So, we looked at them. We spent some time the last couple of days, showed our team yesterday some areas that we got to be good at, whether that's, in our end, their end, through the neutral zone, but also some areas where we're hoping to exploit too. So that's just, I think they're probably doing the exact same thing on the other side. You got to move off your last opponent and move on to the next one.
All right, all business for Arnie and his crew. St. Louis is in the past. It's all about the Dallas Stars. Of course, Mikko Rantanen went legend Saturday night, victimizing his former team, the Colorado Avalanche. Here's what Arnie had to say about the task of going up against the big Finnish Moose.
He's a big man and he's hard to move. When he decides to take pucks to the net, you've got to get into him early because he can do that. But then he has the offensive, the instincts and then the skill set that he's an elite goal scorer in this league. And for him, the way he shoots the puck, where he gets himself into position, I'm sure big relief for him getting through that series. And so we got to make it difficult on not just him, but they're all their top players. We got to make sure that we're paying close attention to those guys when they're on the ice and making sure that we don't give them room and to make their plays or to get comfortable.
All right, so there's Arnie on Mikko Rantanen. Now, this is something, I've been talking about with fans and all of you in the chat, like moving on from the incredible excitement of round one and starting all over again in round two against a team like Dallas. Here's Arniel, who's asked, how they turned the page on the excitement and insanity of how Game 7 and round one finished up.
Talked about it very quickly yesterday. Certainly had to talk about what we did and how we got through that series, sort of the ups and downs, the emotions that happened, but then it was the reset. Now it's like you mentioned, we've talked about it all year, next opponent, next game. And this is going to be just as difficult or if not, tougher. So, it was probably yesterday morning we were done, and then we did some post-skate meetings again to get ready for Dallas, a little bit more this morning, and obviously getting ready for tonight. So, we, like I mentioned, we touched on St. Louis and what we accomplished, but then at the end of the day, now it's, we really lean forward on what's next, and that's kind of getting our heads, on correctly, recognizing that, that what happened in the past is gone. Now we got to, start writing a new one.
Remis, that was a really interesting answer. And listen, from a coaching standpoint, they have to do what they've done all year long, and that's be focused on the task at hand, and what happened in the past doesn't matter, and you're moving on, and you're taking on the Dallas Stars. But the way that he talked at the beginning, saying that, they did a bit of a debrief or whatever on the St. Louis series, for a team that had so many questions and so many naysayers, to win that series in the fashion that they did, that can only be good when faced with more adversity, which is inevitably coming if you're planning on going on a long playoff run.
Yeah, you talk about the moment of the failed challenge in the Oilers-Kings series, where after that, Edmonton seemed to wake up and find their game. You just saw them have another comeback against Vegas in the third period yesterday to win that first game. Was Game 7 the moment for the Jets where the light switch turns on, the pressure, falls off the shoulders. You're starting to get healthier. You have Ehlers in now for Game 1. You have Velarde in. Scheifele's back. You're missing your number one defenseman, but so is Dallas, so a bit of a wash there. Is this the moment where the Jets get back to playing the game that they played in the regular season that led them to the President's Trophy? And, we'll see how it is for Games 1 and 2 at home. And, for them, they've earned home ice advantage, which we saw how huge it was in a series where the home team won every game. And I think it's going to be big again, but I'm curious how they are on the road. Is it just St. Louis? Is it road games in general? There are still some questions, I think, for the Jets that need to be answered in round 2, but they, if you had doubted them before, that comeback, I think, erased a lot of the thoughts in the back of your mind for sure.
Yeah, listen, if people were waiting to be given a sign, you got it. You got it on Sunday night. Interesting side story of this for a little Jets 1.0 history. Scott Arniel and Stars GM Jim Nill were teammates with the 1.0 Jets. Here's what Arnie had to say about that.
The day we got him in a trade, we went to Boston, down there for dinner the night before, and we're all out for dinner, and the next day, we traded Moros Lukovic for Jim Nill, and all they did was pick up their bags and go from one dressing room to the other. So he became an instant teammate, and I was real happy to see him because he was a hard-nosed, great teammate, hard-nosed guy, great guy. He's had great success, obviously, in what he's been doing, starting in Detroit and obviously with Dallas.
And Nill, I mean, listen, he is certainly recognized as one of the top GMs. Their scouting staff has just absolutely killed the draft in recent years, and that, in a lot of ways, is the blueprint of what their team has made. But Jim Nill, right near the top of the NHL's general manager list. Scott Arniel was asked about Neal Pionk. I mean, one of the heroes, playing 46-plus minutes on Sunday night. And now I'm going to have to handle another heavy load with Josh Morrissey being out. Here's Arnie on the man he calls P.
Yeah, he's extremely popular in that room. He's in the middle of a lot of arguments, in the middle of a lot of jokes, pranks. He does a lot, and obviously his commitment to want to stay here, signing that long-term deal. Obviously, the guys were pretty excited when we announced that. But he's just a guy that he's had experience now. I mean, obviously he's been in the playoffs and he's been in big moments and he's handled them well, and that's just him getting smarter, older, kind of going through these moments. And the best part is that he's passing some of this knowledge on to his best friend, his D partner, his hometown buddy. So that's been a great relationship. We've talked about it from the start of the year, that how he's helped Sammy kind of move into that top four role. And man, those two have been big for us, not only through the 82 games, but through this last series.
Hell of a pair. Obviously Pionk has helped Sandberg. Certainly, you look at the results when they're on the ice, a huge factor as well in the success of that pairing. And, I mean, the two of those guys combined for 90 minutes of ice time in the legendary Game 7. One more from the coach, as we move on from St. Louis to the Dallas Stars. Here's what he had to say about just the difference between these two opponents.
Oh, wow. I'd probably say that, they're top end. I'm having 9 forwards that are coming at you. If Robertson's in, it even adds to their depth. So they can strike, and then the other side of it, they defend really well. They defend a lot like us. There's a lot of similarities, but they have a pretty good attack game that we have to be aware of.
All right, heck of a coaching matchup between Arnie and Pete DeBoer. Of course, DeBoer love this series not to go 7 because although maybe the Jets can be the old Brock Lesnar, the 1 in 21-1 for the Undertaker. DeBoer's 9-0 in Game 7s. Who knows? Maybe the White House will be the place where Game 7 is, and the Jets can make that 9-1. We will see. One more clip for you, and this is just a fun one. We heard Connor tell us about Luke Schenn speaking earlier. Luke Schenn's looking forward to tonight and not having any family members to play against this series.
Oh, no family over here. It's, it was hard-fought series, and, going in, obviously, Brandon and I knew that it was going to be memories for a lifetime, whichever way it shook out. And, to be honest, it was fun at the same time, but it was also brutal at the same time. I mean, just obviously playing him in the way that he plays the game. Obviously, I personally love the way he plays, and hard physical brand of hockey, but then when he's running over, your own guys and your own team, it's you're kind of sort of caught in between on a lot of things. So it was tough, for our family and just kind of everyone to go through it. But going into the series, my dad told us both all he wanted was a Game 7 overtime, and then we could figure it out from there. And sure enough, he got what he wanted. So it's like I said, we'll have memories for a lifetime there, and at the same time, kind of a relief that it's over.
All right, I can imagine how much he's relieved that it's over, going up against his brother Braden Schenn, and now it's time. The entire Schenn clan will be behind the Winnipeg Jets as we begin round 2 tonight. Remo, just before we go, What do you think? Where are you at on tonight's game?
Here, I don't know if we gave a shout out to Stan Scott, who had a nice super chat at the beginning of the show. He said,
"Oh, thanks, Stan."
He said, definitely want them to go further, but I actually feel like I'll be able to watch the rest of the playoffs with a little less angst. I think it will be more fun for me now. I think the Jets. I think the scale is tilting in their favor. Can they win? I think I did pick them on my bracket, but I think I picked Colorado. But hey, you're getting Scheifele back, Velarde, Ehlers. I do think there'll be a bit of a, I don't want to say a hangover, but a bounce back after the Game 7 win. I think it'll be better for Hellebuck as well. So if they can play how they played in the regular season, I think they're certainly capable of beating Dallas. Dallas pretty strong. I'm curious what their defense is going to look like here without Heiskanen. There were a lot of games where Dallas got outshot severely in the regular season. And even in that series against Dallas, Colorado really took it to them for parts of that. And the Jets are going to have to, take care of home ice advantage here. As we saw, their play on the road was, very shocking how it went. Or if you could look at a positive, say, hey, you know what? They had 8 bad minutes on the road, but they were the worst 8 minutes of all time where everything was going in. So I think it'll be a great series, probably 6 or 7 here, but maybe the Jets equal out and do have that blemish on Pete DeBoer's record.
Yeah, listen, I don't know about the games. I'm taking the Jets plus 141 to win this series. Listen, let's start it off exactly the way the last series started off, with a big, big win in game number 1 at home. The place will be rocking. Get a nap in if you need, and then get out and get ready to bring it. If you're down in the arena tonight, if you're at the Whiteout Street party, if you're at the party in the plaza, as the Jets and Stars get ready to go, both surviving near-death experiences on the weekend. And now it's a best of 7 to see who will represent the Central Division in the Western Conference Final of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Thanks again to Pat Gregoire for jumping on today. Brandon Rewucki, the Mayor Scott Gillingham, our own Connor Hrabchak, and all the sponsors that make the show happen each and every day. Don't forget, get your name into that draw for tomorrow's marble race for the Coolbet tickets. Enter WinnipegSportsTalk.com. You'll see the playoffs in the peg. Click on that, make it happen. And otherwise, folks, have a great night. Enjoy game number 1. And make sure to join us tomorrow, 1 p.m. right here to break it all down and get ready for game 2 on Winnipeg Sports Talk.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.